Motos.
Cleveland Moto episode 483, doing YouTube live for the very goddamn first time. Light 'em up, boys. There we go. To my immediate left, we have one.
Dan Kromke.
And to his left.
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left.
Oh, Johnny Mac.
And to his left.
Chris Smith.
And to his left.
Greg Castillo.
And behind the bar.
Tom Pennington.
And this is episode 483, Dilos de las Muertos Motos. That's right, Day of the Dead motorcycle edition. Can't possibly tell you. The folks here in Cleveland are feeling the chill. I gave out Halloween candy yesterday in a T-shirt and a thong.
Nice.
And this morning, it's no bueno.
How was your Snickers bar?
I had my perfect liner. People were walking up and I was giving out candy and I'm like, you know, some of them are dressed up like something living, but some are like obviously living dead or whatever. I'm like, are you alive or are you dead? I'm dead. I'm like, you smell like it.
Hey, nice.
My one of the 7 or 8.
I got a pregnant lady.
Oh God,
It's a dad joke.
was it a costume? Or was she?
No.
Sean says we're getting audio from the camera, not the mics.
No. Well,
Audio?
yeah,
No, we are
that's how
getting.
that's how
Yes,
that's gonna
Sean,
work.
that is correct. We
That
are
is how it's
getting
gonna
audio
work.
from the camera and not the mics
The
because
camera is a phone and that's all you get.
Yeah, you're not going to get any more.
Well,
You're right.
also, we're going to see how this goes, and then before we invest money and time into making this actually good,
We haven't yet. Why would we start
also
now?
true. Yeah, yeah. So that's why if you folks who are playing at home can't hear us, it's a decent thing to tell us you can't hear us because then we can modify accordingly. So hopefully you'll be able to hear us. That'd be great if you could. And if not, I told the boys to use their outside voices.
Yep.
So hopefully that works out.
Well, the problem is we're dealing with the microphones, which will pick up, us 2 inches away, and then
Right.
dealing with a microphone over there, where if we have to yell to hear it, then it's just going to be weird.
Yep.
Because
That's it.
Sleepy's going to be like, you assholes.
Yep. That's fine.
I think you guys need someone that does sign language.
Same as it ever was.
If everybody spoke up and used their outdoor voice, it makes Sleepy's job a hell of a lot easier in the future. So
put the
right?
microphone.
I have no interest in doing that at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm
look.
feeling you.
It's that night after Becky cooked all the beans.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight, one of the topics to talk about tonight, since we are celebrating Day of the Dead, I wanted to talk about the motorcycle brands or the motorcycles that are no longer with us. So 2024 left quite a body count, not just out in the world, but in the
It's
motorcycle.
not over yet.
Yeah, and the motorcycle industry is reeling. It is not doing great. If you listen to last week's podcast, you'll know we talked about a lot of things that were taking a hit financially, but there is actually a body count to go with that when it comes to the world of motorcycles. And it is, it's tough when you sit there and you're like, yeah, man, I really, I feel like motorcycling might be going downhill a bit. I think that motorcycling might be losing some of its momentum. We know that we've had a lot less really young people, the 18-year-olds, a lot less of them seem to be fired up. We've got Skidmark Garage. We got Moto Go that's supposed to be out there building new motorcycle riders for us. And what's not funny is when we look at the particular people that are having a hard time, the companies that are having a hard time, and the bikes that they're getting rid of, that is telling. So when you have a company the size of Harley Davidson, or you have a company the size of Honda, or a company the size of Kawasaki, and they're making some financial decisions, and they're saying, what are we going to do to make ourselves more affordable? Has anyone else noticed? Go ahead, John.
Well, I was going to say, I bet nobody's getting rid of their small capacity 400, 300, 250cc bikes.
Not only are they not getting rid of them, but that is the fastest growing market segment. Not just in unit sales, but in bikes companies, whether it's KTM, Kawasaki, Triumph. That is what they're adding the most to the stable.
And in my mind, that's where you're getting new riders. I mean, new riders are probably going to buy something like that, and they're doing as much. If you're a company that's not selling a new, a small displacement, something, the first bike for somebody, then you're not pulling your weight, and so whatever.
And imagine being the salesman at Bajaj going to all of these big companies going, well, you guys don't have a 400. Would you like to have a 400? Because at this point, that guy right now is the one making bank.
He is. He's making bank. And it is.
Because none of these bikes, Triumph's not building their bike. You know, KTM's not building, well, we're obviously not building their bike. You know, nobody is building their bikes. The guy at QJ that sold Harley on this 305 concept, you know, those guys they're not building new Harleys 305s in Wisconsin.
Can you even buy a Harley 305 at a Harley dealership yet? I mean, I thought that died.
Long gone, baby.
Yeah, that never happened.
Yeah.
Long gone. Didn't happen.
Although the Royal Enfield 305 is definitely a hot seller.
Yep.
The Meteor.
We have one of our,
the Meteor 350.
Yeah, 350.
Yep.
Two of our members at the garage, after they couldn't get some of their bikes going for our Skidmark 300 off-road, they went out and bought brand new 350 Royal Enfields.
Seriously?
And did the ride. Yeah, it was
They
great.
just literally went out and bought a brand new motorcycle.
I love that idea because whenever we had the Royal Enfield, the Bullet 500s, I'm like, this thing has torque and power like a tractor. It would be so fun to just try to kit one out with knobbies and see what you could do just off-road. I mean, it's not going to jump or anything, but...
The Skidmark 300 is more off-road. It's some road. But these people, they got the Royal Enfields and they rode with street tires.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
They didn't change the tires.
They didn't change the
But
tires.
we had another member that last year when he did it, he had a modded out Harley. I think it was an 883, but he made it an adventure bike. He added a bunch of guards and knobby tires and everything you'd want to do on an adventure bike. And this year he brought his daughter's Royal Enfield 350.
Really?
Yeah. And it had knobby tires.
And
he loved it. He's like, I hate to say it, but I love this thing.
Right.
You know? And there's guys that, you know.
I mean, it's the ultimate. If you want a thumper.
You have, right, when you're doing certain kind of if you're going cross country, yeah, you're going to want a big cruiser with the bags and all that stuff. When you're bobbing around town, you don't need the freaking Boss Hoss or Valkyrie, you know.
When we talk about the bikes that Kawasaki added a bike to their stable. They added the W230.
Oh, really?
So a single cylinder using the KLX 230 motor, and they built a little adorable miniature Bonneville, right? I mean, that's what a W650's always been, right? So whether a W650 was a W650 or a W800 or a W900 or anything with a W, we know that it was a vintage style bike, and that Kawasaki has just added the W230 to their lineup. Now, everyone else is kind of hanging around that 400 price point, that 400 cc's, but Kawasaki decides they're going to go in with a 230 because it's a motor family they already have, so it's an easy pass through emissions.
Oh, yeah.
It's an easy pass through NHTSA and everything else because that motor exists in the Kawasaki catalog for the United States of America. I don't know how many they're going to sell, but if you tell me that they're not going head to head with the Meteor 350,
Sure.
I'm going to tell you, you're probably wrong.
Because when Suzuki dropped the TU 250X, that was kind of a thing. That was a great little bike.
It sure was. It sure was. A bike we all love. Go ahead, Dan.
So Greg Hagan asked, is the price of secondhand ones going to rise of those smaller bikes?
Correct. That's
I
an
think
excellent,
it already has.
excellent point.
Oh, it definitely has.
That market segment. Now, what our Triumph dealers, our friends who at Triumph are very worried about is if we start with a Triumph Street 400 or a Scrambler 400, which already has a very low threshold of ownership, and somebody finances that because it's a brand new motorcycle, and then they want to trade that bike in as they grow out of it, and they grow into wanting a 650, 750, or an 800. The problem is the residual value in that bike is going to be much higher. They're going to be upside down. It's almost impossible for you to buy that Triumph 400 at fair market value and pay the dealer fees and pay the freight and the setup, and then a year later to even break even. And what our Triumph dealer friends are worried about is the amount of negative equity that's going to be coming in when these folks on these Triumph 400s or Meteor 350s are interested in going to a bigger bike. Because when you or I think about purchasing a 300 or a 400, we are solely thinking pre-owned.
Well, why wouldn't they just roll that negative equity into the new bike like they do in the car world all the time?
Okay, and you're absolutely right. But as a person that believes that a lot of credit is predatory, then I start going, well, then you start seeing people that go, okay, well, where can we hide this negative equity? Well, how are we going to hide it? Oh, well, now we're going to hide it into you now getting a Triumph 800, right? Or let's get you into a Triumph 800, but we have to hide $2,000 of negative equity somewhere. Where are we going to hide that? Because the bank doesn't like financing things for more than the bike is worth on the back end. It is not uncommon in the dealership to have somebody come in and say, I want to buy that bike. And we go, we want you to buy that bike. You've got credit. That's fantastic. The bank says, sure, I'm going to finance that fella, but I'm not going to finance them for the $64.99 out the door price, because I know if we have to go repo that bike, it's no longer worth $64.99. Right. So magically, instead of a $500 down payment, which is what exists at my shop, these lenders are asking for a $2,300 down payment.
Sure.
Why are they asking for a $2,300 down payment? Because it helps get in front of that negative equity in case they have to repo that bike in 6 months. Mm-hmm. So that makes it a little more challenging when we look 12 months down the road at the guy who's trading it in. Because that's what the credit companies aren't there to be your friend. They're there to make a lot of money. So I can totally respect dealerships being a little spooked that, especially a dealership like our local Royal Enfield outfit is a BMW dealership. And if somebody comes in and they got their Meteor 350 and now they want to trade it in, but they're $2,000 upside down, well, you have to look out and find where you can hide that $2,000. And that buyer's going to come in, and what's he going to do? He's going to have to pay another $2,300 down payment or first payment to get that motorcycle. Mm-hmm.
Has anybody ever offered a motorcycle lease?
So, yes. So BMW and Harley Davidson both did toy around with leasing. Vespa did threaten us with leasing a few years ago, right? And
it would be lucrative. I mean, it seems to work in the car world. I mean, yeah.
Here's why. Now, let's go back to that. It works well in the car world because in a lot of opportunities, the person might buy out the lease.
Okay.
In which case, the company can charge them the mileage. They can charge them a reconditioning fee if the car comes back. But if you're buying it out, you don't pay the mileage. You don't pay the reconditioning fee because you own it.
Yeah.
You're just paying off the end of the car. In which case, you are paying the car off at its maximum MSRP. That might be a little harder than going out and finding a 2-year-old model and buying it and saving a few bucks.
Usually your buyout is going to be less than what the market value of that car is. You know what I mean? So if you lease it for 3 years, the value your buyout should be less than going out and trying to buy a 3-year-old used one. You know what I mean? It's a way, I've always looked at it as, a way to keep your payments lower. Yes, you're going to pay more overall. Yep. And you're going to pay it for probably 8 years, but you're only going to be paying $300-400 a month.
You are locked into that clockwork mindset that a lot of my customers come in and say, like, I don't know what the MSRP means, but I know that I can afford $199 a month. Mm-hmm. So and we have the joke at the shop, look at these millennials walking around like they rent the place. Mm-hmm. And that's that mindset of just like, I can afford $200 a month to have a brand new motorcycle under me at all times. Maybe
I had this conversation with my daughter. She wants to buy a new car, and she goes, well, what if I lease? And what if I said, listen, I'm going to tell you a horror story. And this happens to do with my first motorcycle. I wanted it. I didn't care. I said, sign me up. I want the bike. It was a CBR 600.
Ouch.
RR.
Ouch.
Yeah. F2. F2. Yeah.
Oh,
it was used. It was used.
Mm-hmm.
I got it used, right?
Yeah.
And my father was totally against it. Right. My mother was all about it. She's like, oh, co-sign.
And how old were you, Greg?
Oh, this was right after high school, so 18.
So your insurance was about $3,000 a month.
No, because I first went to, I was down by, there was a motorcycle dealership down by, and Kevin used to work there from Star
Cleveland Akron Honda?
Yeah. Well, by the Canton
Hall
of Fame.
Yeah, way down by Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yep. Anyways, I was looking at a used Gixxer 750.
Oh my.
Okay. And it was gorgeous, and I'm like, yeah. So they're running the numbers and they go, okay, I could afford it. And called the insurance company and they go, that'll be $3,000 a year. I go, what the hell? They go, it's a race bike.
Yeah,
750 is a race bike.
Yeah.
Well, the 600 was, I think, for full coverage, I think it was like $800 or $900.
They probably snuck that into a sports standard.
But the point of my story was I told my daughter, and she wants a new car, and I just said, there's nothing wrong with your car now. I'll finance it. I got a job, everything. I said, listen, I'll tell you about financing. When I signed up for my F2, this gorgeous bike, loved it, wanted it, I didn't care. 23%.
Oh,
I didn't know what I was signing
For our folks playing at home, 23% on a $4,000 motorcycle means at the end of the term, you will have paid almost $11,000
Yes.
for your $4,000 motorcycle.
Yikes.
That's painful. That's tough, man.
Oh, they bent me over. I didn't know. I was
You had no
18
idea.
years old.
Right. You just saw the payment. You're like, I can swing
like
that.
you're saying,
Yep.
the kids come to your shop and go,
Yep.
I can afford $199. Okay. But they don't know it's for X amount of years and blah,
Right.
blah, and you'll end up spending this.
I feel like there's
matter.
there's a P Diddy joke over somewhere about bending over an 18.
Hey, it's too early for that.
But dude, it's unbelievable.
It's never too soon for jokes as long as you pay them money.
I just had to make.
Patreons demand jokes.
I'd like to give a shout out to my buddy Jim Doherty. He says he's tuning in. I sent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yay. We're seeing results.
We like comments. We want to see more comments.
And because this is our maiden voyage of this whole thing,
good
we didn't
comments,
give you
bad comments,
a lot
we
of
love-
notification.
We actually like
Right.
the bad comments.
Yep.
A lot.
Absolutely.
Bad feedback is good for everybody except for Sleepy.
So we're going to talk about the graveyard of motorcycles,
Oh, yeah.
the graveyard of bikes that's out there. So just recently we found out that Energica, the Italian gods of electric motorcycles, and I will tell you, I've had those bikes in my shop. I've ridden those bikes. Their performance of those bikes is fucking impressive. If you would say that Zeros are built for the common man and that a Zero is trying its best not to hurt you, Energica didn't get that memo. Energica says, we are the people that brought you Ferrari. We're the people that brought you Lamborghini. That is where the Energica factory is on that road in Italy where it's game fucking on. And Energica is not so concerned about your limited riding skills. Whereas Zero has traction control devices and ABS brakes that are there to keep you alive. Energica has buttons that when you press those buttons, all those things go away.
It makes it more dangerous.
And you got 160 pounds-feet of torque, right? And then because they decided that fires should be big fires, they put more battery in their bike than anybody else ever put in a bike. So that
Perfect.
Your bike was just a lithium transportation system. That's all it was. And there is a story you can look up about what used to be a Formula Electric racing series of electric motorcycles that were all Energicas, spec class, all Energica Egos, which is a badass full-on sport bike. Okay. And the entire goddamn garage caught on fire. And I think it might have been 30 or 40 Energica motorcycles went up in a bright purple ball of flames that you couldn't put out.
Right.
Yeah. So game on there. But Energica, about a year, maybe two ago, signed up with Sean McMahon. That's right. World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling, Vince McMahon's son, who has a company called, I think it's called Ideanomics. And their basic idea is to purchase companies, tech companies in particular, and if they don't instantly make a shit ton of money with them, then they go out of business in the government mandated less than 5 years that you're not required to turn a profit, and creates a really tidy loss to offset their profits in their other wings of their corporation. Sure. And the other shoe just dropped. And it wasn't like, hey, sales are going to slow down. We're going to lay some people off at our factory, or we're going to trim down our line of bikes. It was just the doors closed, people.
Well,
That's it.
Since they're in bankruptcy now
Yeah.
and in recovery and it's Italian, the big question is Fiat or Volkswagen? Who's going to buy
Which
it?
one of the two companies is going to buy them, right? For literally seven
Oh, yeah.
€7 7 pennies on the dollar.
Isn't Ducati Volkswagen now under the
Yeah, it is.
Volkswagen umbrella?
Yeah. And
So-
you can always find another millionaire to buy a failing
yeah.
Italian
And,
motorcycle
yeah.
company. They'll always find somebody
Because the
else.
tooling's probably already there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
What's an Italian?
Zimbo 1212 wants to know if we can talk more about Cybertrucks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They suck.
Still didn't get my deposit back, so
as an EV guy, they suck ass.
They're rusty. Move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
I will tell you though that I did, for you guys paying attention at home, I did make no small effort to get my $100 deposit back on my Cybertruck. And Elon is not making that easy.
Oh no.
I believe it.
Elon's fighting me pretty hard for $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think he'd have better things to do?
Go to Judge Judy. See if you can.
Judge Milan. So she's paid off for me in the past. I got an in with her. Okay, Energica, the whole damn company, it's gone. And I'm on a forum of Energica owners, and I have people on that forum who ordered their bike about 5-6 months ago, and that bike hasn't shown up yet. But the check's already been cashed.
J-Song said $5,600 for a W230 Eek.
Eek. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well done, sir. Thank you for doing our price checking for us.
That is like the same as a Triumph 400.
And I know which one I'd
really
buy.
close.
Telling you right now, I'm going to tell you which one I'd buy. I like that little Triumph.
Well, there's kids that are either brand loyal, like maybe they're like a I know people
Right.
that are strictly into Suzuki.
Right.
They'll buy like a small Suzuki, a big Suzuki, all the way up. And if something new comes out from Kawasaki that like that's cool,
Not a kid.
I'm
Kids-
gonna go buy it.
Kids, here's a tip from me. Be polyamorous.
Yeah.
Just go
Just
for it.
spread
Just
it
take
around,
all
man.
the bikes you want. Just
Imagine-
take
You
all
could
the
read
brands you
minds?
want. Yeah, just take it all.
Who the hell is this guy? Nick makes and breaks stuff. Never heard of him.
Never heard of that
jerk.
guy.
What a
oh
jerk.
my God. What a
Hey,
jerk.
wait. Have him call in.
Yeah. No, you can't. It's like a 4 or
no,
5
he-
second delay.
Oh, he can call in.
Shout out
No,
to
it's a 5-second delay. It will kill you.
Oh, damn.
shout out to Greg O'Hagan tuning in from Ireland.
Ireland.
Dang it.
Hey.
What is it, like 2 o'clock in the morning? There?
Toy, toy, toy.
Did the bar just close?
The
Should I tell my beer joke?
go ahead.
There's
Tom,
an Englishman,
sure.
a Scotsman, and an Irishman, and they're all in a bar, and they sit down. They order a pint of beer. The Englishman looks at his beer, and there, lo and behold, there's a fly in it. And he says, "Oh Lord, there's a fly in it." And so he pours the beer. Sorry, I don't do a very good accent.
Oh.
No, you're
not bagel.
Go ahead.
I'm not big.
Not bagel.
He's like, "This is rubbish. I can't drink this." And he turns it back. The Scotsman looks at it and says, "It's only a wee fly." And he takes the fly out and he drinks his beer.
Right.
The Irishman grabs the fly and says, "Spit it out, you motherfucker."
No. You said it wrong. It's spit it out, you wee greedy bastard.
I always heard that the Scotsman was the right. All right,
Well,
fair enough.
he's from Ireland,
He's
so
from
I
Ireland, so
made
you
him
fine
greedy
tune it
bastard.
for
I had
him.
to fine tune it for him.
All right, I find.
How long was the
Hey, look, if you didn't
What's
pay
it called?
$10, you don't get this anyway.
what's it called? Energica?
Energica, yeah.
How long were they out for?
I went and rode him probably 4 years ago, just before COVID. Actually, that was my trip I went that I got COVID. So
see.
that was when they just said COVID was a thing. Well, at least our country admitted COVID is a thing. Meanwhile, I was at the training and everybody's wearing masks. So all the people from Asia, all the people from Germany, all the people from Spain, all the people from Costa Rica were wearing masks. And we were in Alpine, California, an hour north of San Diego. And all the Americans are there for the Zero launch of the SRF and everything else. And all the Americans are like, "Why are you guys wearing masks?" And they're like, "There's a pandemic going on and people are dying." And we're like, "We've not heard anything about this." And then I did like 2 Ubers and 3 planes and got home and I had COVID.
I see.
Yep. So yay.
Fun.
Early adopter. Yeah, get there early.
We're talking about electric motorcycles.
Yeah.
You got to talk about Zero.
Yep.
So when were they on the scene?
Zeros are very old. So Zeros hit the market. They're over 16 years old now.
Oh, yeah, because I rode one of the original dirt bike models, which was literally a dirt, like it was almost basically it was a dirt bike with an electric motor on it.
Zero's been around for a very long time.
So why was even the Energica even started if like they kind of 4 years ago and they can kind of see the trend like Zero wasn't doing great.
Well,
They
Zero's
think they were going to do it something better.
Well, Zero's been doing great. So that's the thing is Zero is doing great and Zero's picking up government contracts. Zero, when Energica came into the game, they used Zero as an example of like, imagine if we took all that idea and that concept and that technology, but instead of having bikes that look like Lego figures, we actually had bikes that look like Ducatis.
Yeah, and they did.
And instead of having a bike that had a 116-mile range, we had a bike with a 200-mile range.
What was their price point?
Way high, $23K.
Yeah.
Super
So
high.
not every kid that's like a tech kid that
And
here's $23K for a bike.
Energica was always happy to tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, if you have to ask, you
Dave
can't
King.
afford it.
I remember.
Dave
I was
King
helping
says
you.
Alta Motors, I'm guessing.
Gonzo, baby. But that was Gonzo a while ago. Yeah, that
Also,
wasn't
we
this
have
year.
Michael Tilley says, "I'm tuning in from Delaware." And we got a guy from Milwaukee. Osakaru, 76.
Sakaru. Yeah. I think
Milwaukee.
I mean, I would go Sakaru is probably Oscar.
Ah.
The romantic Hispanic.
Oh, is that Oscar?
Hey.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Happy Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, he should be here, actually.
Well, he should be here, but we're working on that. We need him to just change his job location one more
It
time.
is midnight in Ireland.
It is. Yay. So, yeah,
sounds like a
Energica
movie.
just
So
they're just
absolutely.
getting started. At the
Oh,
bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Energica didn't build an entry-level bike.
No,
Their
no.
entry-level bike was still 16 or 17K.
I mean, how
But
much?
I mean, it wasn't like there was dealerships all around.
No, in
America.
fact, that was the thing is I went out there and while Zero was paying me to be at their dealer meeting,
yeah.
I just jumped in an Uber and went to San Jose, California. and went to a private meeting with the presidents of the operators of Energica.
Yeah.
You know, Stefano and these awesome people. They took me out and gave me probably one of the best demo rides I've had in my life, where we are scratching corners and canyons at 100 miles an hour. It's just delightful and these are chain drive bikes because they don't want a belt.
Sure.
They're serious.
Hi, Stephen F. from Oregon.
Hey, and these bikes were violent and delightful, and I love them dearly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will be your dealer.
Yeah.
And then we got one of the bikes and we sold one of the bikes to one guy locally before we even had a dealer license for the brand. Yeah. And that guy's bike fell over in his driveway, and it took them 9 weeks to get me the parts to fix it.
Yeah.
Steve Randall from Ontario.
Oh, hey, Steve. Yay. Cheers, man. The another company that went away. Now, this one's a deep dive, a little bit of a deep dive. The company's called Cake, like cake. The Cake Motors. Right, Cake, right? Cake built these exotic electric motorcycles that were modular. And when you looked at a Cake motorcycle, you were always wondering what it was going to transform into next. They are very funky, but the idea with Cake is you could take it to your job site and run your Sawzall off of it, right?
Guy from New Mexico.
Oh, very cool. That's the Cake bikes always fascinated me to no end. I thought the Cakes were cool. They were the darlings of several motorcycle dealer shows, you know. Hey, you want to sign up to be a Cake motorcycle dealer? And I'm like, that thing looks freaking cool. I'm all over it.
Does Cake Calc mean anything? K-A-L-K?
I don't know about Cake Calc.
Dave King said Cake Calc.
Cake Calc, yeah. So there's the Cake. There's the Cake Osa. The Cake Osa is the one that is just straight up modular. There's nothing about the bike that is normal.
You don't want to get cake on your couch.
So there's a Cake that's designed to work. You take a look there. There's a giant.
Yeah.
There's a Cake with a 40-liter pannier on the front of it.
Wow.
And boxes on the back. So Cake really did. The Cake Caulk is the. Here's the Cake Caulk. There's the Cake Caulk, guys.
Oh yeah, because that looks like the.
Who the fuck named that?
I believe it was the Norwegians, maybe the Swiss, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know what calc means.
If they got their names from the IKEA catalog. Okay. That's the whole deal, right?
It looks like something you do.
Is there a
IKEA.
Cake Ektorp?
I'm sure there's a Cake. Here's our new motorcycle. It's called the Cake Flynn. It comes with a cadenza and a coffee table.
It is the Cake Billy the bookcase.
It is Billy the bookcase. That is exactly right.
So what's the price point on these things?
They were in the 6 and 8s.
Okay.
You know, and it was always that question of like, you'd see them at the motorcycle show, you'd see them at the dealer expo, and the first question out of your mouth was, is that DOT legal? Mm-hmm. And very much like, you know, some of the other electric motorcycles that are out there, you'd be like, if you don't look too hard.
If you squint your eyes out, you know, a little bit.
Yeah, if you don't look too hard, we can call it an e-bike.
One of the because we're on what, number 3 electric bike and EV bike now, and the biggest problem is been entry point into EV. This should be easy.
It should be easy, and we know in the department, there are less moving parts, and that should make everything cheaper.
Dave Osterday says they did not go the distance.
They did not go the distance.
He's going the distance.
Hey, you know what?
Cake did not
normally we would charge
the distance.
Normally we'd charge $10 for that, but we'll give you 2 for free.
Yeah, and the Cake Caulk does look like it's one of the motorcycles from Megaforce or something.
It looks like the Chiron. Is the name I've been trying to think of in the back of my head for like 10 minutes anyway. But
if you have a Chiron long enough, somebody will steal your power converter out of it. Yeah,
but that's watching this EV, because that to me right there, I'd like to have that actually. I'm not going to lie, because it is utilitarian.
It's utilitarian as fuck. It can handle lumber.
Exactly.
Right. It can handle your wood.
And a table saw.
As somebody who literally,
it's a miter saw.
Exactly. As somebody who commutes 2 miles a day, this is perfect.
Well, yeah, it sure is, isn't it?
Like, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rad.
I can go to work, run my
the Oso work
power tools off of it. This is perfect.
Oso work handyman.
If you were short, you're not seeing over the toolbox.
Hey, come on. These are artist concepts, Sleepy. Don't get in the way of their dreams. Right? They're going to sell millions of dollars of these just on investment principles alone.
That's at least two tractor lead acid batteries.
If you buy one of these, you get 4 Dogecoin. Yeah. That's who they're going for. Yep. So
I mean, I
that's-
honestly don't think the like that's catering to the guy that actually is a construction worker. Like, you know what? I want a bicycle I could put all my stuff on and,
Right.
and still charge my phone on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
if you're in the Netherlands or something,
and I want to
like
run a
that,
campsite off of it.
Yeah. I want to run a podcast off it.
Right.
But if you're spending, the problem is you're spending $7,000 on this, it's not worth it.
Right.
But once you get down to the lower end price point, it's not worth it because then suddenly all the quality goes out the window.
Oscar says he didn't know Energica went down. Did
It's
it?
fresh news.
Oh, hot off
It's,
the press.
it's only 6 days old. Yeah.
6 days old.
It's pretty fresh news.
It is
heard it first here.
Without the ClevelandMoto week-long delay
Exactly.
to give the news a chance to cruise.
Is that a radial arm saw in the
Yes,
back of
it
that?
is.
Oh.
It is a
Miter
radial arm
saw.
Looks
Looks like a
it's
miter saw.
That's a radial arm saw right there.
radial. Yeah,
That's
radial.
beefy. That is
Okay.
beefy. That
Did
is-
you see that
crazy.
Eric Buell's electric bike went
There
under
you
too?
go. There's our other.
The Buell fuel.
The fuel has ran out of gas.
Dave King wants to know if Honda should make a Monk E.
A Monk E. I know they're already working on
Yeah.
the Monk.
They're already working
E.
on that,
Yeah.
Dave.
Because they have
That's already happening.
They
yeah.
have the electric Cub now.
I thought they
Or
had an
the
electric
Cub
Grom
Wow.
or something like that.
Yeah.
There's been an e-grom.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I
Yeah.
thought there was there were a concept for an electric like the CT70 version.
The Passport.
Dax. Dax.
The Dax.
yeah,
well, there is
that's
an
it.
electric Dax already
want
out
the
that's
real
being
Dax.
ridden around. Yeah.
But that's the thing is
the
that
folks at Zero, those madmen at Zero, they put a Zero motor out of their Zero FX into a Grom.
I believe it.
And they
Like
made
wild
the
solenoid
Death
wild.
Grom.
Did you?
Because 116 pounds-feet of torque is just perfect for a Grom.
Perfect.
So I joined.
12-inch wheels.
I joined all
Or
the
88
DAX
pounds feet of
groups so I could
Oh, you
keep up
did?
on what's going on with all the
Nice.
DAX. Right. And it was
Nice.
kind of crazy. Some of these guys that got them have no idea the history.
Oh, yeah.
So like this one guy's like, man, the quality on this is pretty crappy. You can totally tell that the frame is like two pieces pressed together.
No. Say it ain't so.
dude.
You got to be kidding me. So, yes, Eric Buell, a.k.a. Fuel. The bike we always thought was named funny because it's called Fuel, yet it takes none. The Fuel Motorcycle Company has admitted that they are yet another chapter in the Eric Buell history of seemed like a great idea at the time. What could possibly go wrong?
how did Hurley get involved and how did they torpedo this?
Right, exactly.
How many
I'm not going to believe it's done until I see Harley's fingerprints on it. Right.
Ireland says they want to know, should they have a standardized battery? Of course they should have a
Well,
standardized
yeah.
battery. We wish
I'll talk
everything
about that if you
electric,
want.
all electric cars. That's
yeah.
the big thing.
Yeah.
Hot swappable batteries. We've talked about that.
Asia's
before.
got this, and since we're talking about this, you invested in this. You've told me about this.
So I'll tell you about that because I've got a little skin in the game. Yes, in fact, there was a standardized battery consortium that was developed for several motorcycle manufacturers. And they all basically agreed to the same battery architecture. So KTM, Honda, and Yamaha basically said, we are agreeing to all fit with the same form factor. Mm-hmm. So no matter whose name is on your motorcycle, whether it's a dirt bike or a street bike or a scooter or a street sweeper or whatever the goddamn it is, we are going to give you the same battery format, the same charging format. It's VHS versus beta, right? And Laserdisc fits in there somewhere. But these companies agreed to that. And they literally said way back in year of our Lord 2021 that they were all going to use that standardized format.
Renee said Gogoro.
However, thank you, Renee. However, if you put all the KTMs that were sold with a standardized battery pack and all the Hondas that were sold with the standardized battery pack and all the Yamahas that were sold with the standardized battery pack, and you put them in your right hand, and in your left hand, you put Gogoro scooters out of Taiwan, you would have a factor of approximately 10,000 to 1. Because Gogoro in Taiwan already has the quick change battery stations at every 7-Eleven.
Yep.
So you roll up on your scooter, motorcycle, what have you, whether it's a 1 battery, 2 battery, 3 battery, 4 battery system, and you roll up and you go, I'm getting a bit low. You slide the brand new batteries out of the dispenser and you put your batteries in. Mm-hmm. And then off you fuck.
Yeah.
And that's your world. And when you buy the bike, here's my favorite thing from cheapskate Scottish background. When you buy your bike, an electric bike, what you're paying for is the batteries. The batteries are 80% of the cost of the vehicle. Sure. When you buy the Gogoro, you're not buying any batteries. You're buying the vehicle. The batteries are the property of Gogoro and that system. Right. And the dealership, you start with your first set of batteries at the dealership, and then for the rest of your life, you change those batteries at 7-Elevens all over. And there are places in Asia where you can be standing at a 7-Eleven and looking at another 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
And
Michael Talley says, how about at least standardized charging? You know what I mean? Like, maybe everybody has a different battery. We'll use one plug.
Hang on. I got this.
It'd be great if you could travel across the world and only take one plug with you.
So in the EU, since we were talking about Ireland a minute ago, this past year, there was a lawsuit. And the basis of the lawsuit is stop selling your fucking drills and your hand hammers and everything else with non-standard batteries.
Correct.
Next year, every fucking thing sold in the EU has to have the same fucking battery pack.
So there won't be green batteries and red batteries,
no more DeWalt,
orange
no more
batteries,
Milwaukee,
and yellow
no
batteries.
more bullshit. It's all going to be the same.
But how are they
going to
make videos about competitions between all the different types of
So at that point,
it's going to hurt AVE's market.
Oh yeah,
horribly.
And the saving grace for the EV literally is going to be the EU, because unlike America, they're going to go fix your bullshit.
Well, and it's why iPhones now have to have a USB-C.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that FireWire, which was literally to hold you hostage to buying your charging devices.
You know, here we're banging rocks together.
Right.
They're like, you know what? Lightning. Let's go lightning for the rest of our fucking lives, but everybody's got to use it.
Right.
They have the answer. That is the answer. I mean, if you think about like electric vehicles now and Teslas, they got charging stations everywhere.
Right.
And the one story I keep going back to was two guys on a road trip are racing each other to the next charging station.
Oh, yeah.
Because it takes a certain amount of time to charge, and you don't want to be waiting for that guy to charge his car while you're sitting there.
Charging your car.
If you had, a battery,
as long as some redneck in the middle of fucking Oklahoma hasn't taken a set of boat fucking clippers to the.
There's a lot of copper
wire
in those wires.
You guys.
My first Tesla experience was I was very impressed with the Tesla that I rode in a couple weeks ago.
Do you own one?
No, my
they're impressive to ride in.
Well,
yeah, it was supervised. It was
most
supervised,
EVs,
and it would literally drive itself anywhere.
Yeah, right.
And it's other side of the parking lot. It came over and got you. I mean, shit.
Most
cool.
electric cars now are fucking amazing.
I don't know if I'd buy one,
But
I wouldn't buy one.
But the problem is that you start running into range anxiety. Like I would love to have
it has 300 miles.
Like I
And
said,
Tom can't handle any more anxiety.
Yeah, no,
it wouldn't be.
I have drugs for that.
For me, it would not be range anxiety.
Me too.
It's the horror stories you hear about. Oh, I need to replace the battery in my Tesla, and it's $20,000.
Hey, Sleepy, how much is that transmission going to cost in your truck?
200,000 mile warranty.
Well, me and John talked about that. Hopefully, a little piece of hose.
That would be the best. I like a good simple
how much
man
does
and a
Dead
good
Guy
simple
Dodge
solution.
cost you to rebuild at
You
this
just got
point?
to do a cooler bypass.
Cooler
a
bypass.
standard EV
hopefully.
battery is about $3,000 to $5,000 now on the aftermarket. It's not a huge loss. And a transmission for a Dodge truck, which he's about to find out, is going to be about $3,000.
No.
You guys are old enough.
Oh yeah, I got the receipt from the last one I did. You want to see it?
Believe me, Greg, I definitely am an electric vehicle naysayer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That
It makes
Tesla
more
kind of
sense.
changed my mind.
It makes more sense about the whole replacing. Like, here's your battery. Give me a new battery that's already charged.
Well, there's
you guys know propane gas grills. I worked at a hardware store when I was in high school, filling propane 20-pound tanks. We had a scale and we had a gigantic propane thing.
That explains.
And
a
guess
lot.
what? Then every store or the gas stations popped up where you take your empty tank.
Blue
and
Flame.
you get a new tank.
Right. Blue Flame fixed
It's already
it all.
filled.
But look at the cool thing about the
Blue Line.
Tesla.
You don't have to fill up someone's tank. And there was one time when we were filling up hot air balloon tanks, and the weights that were on the scales were for a 100-pound tank, and you put a 20-pound tank on there and put 100 pounds in a 20-pound tank, and guess what happens? It's not good. Had to crack that valve and let it all go out, and it was like, stand back and don't light a match.
So Greg, you talk about this. There's a video somewhere on YouTube of a lady in Taiwan who's doing this tour in an electric taxi. And the taxi driver says, look, I got to pull in for a minute. They have to change the battery and then we'll be back on the road. It's just going to take me 5 minutes. She's like, this is exciting. I want to see this. They take the car. They drive it into basically a car wash. The driver does not get out of the car. The car lifts up about a foot. This mechanical arm comes in, removes the battery like a fucking Duracell, shunts it behind the wall.
Do they have to get
next
the
one-
little screwdriver with the little
Exactly.
to get the lid off?
The next one, joke all you want. This is the future.
They pull a big
next
I
one
believe
comes
it.
in,
That's the only way it can work,
the
though.
flat pack comes in,
That's
locks
the only
itself
way
into place.
electric can work.
Couple of screws, rock and roll.
That's the only way
And
it can
it's-
work.
and-
Or when you drive your car back and forth to work and you come home, and actually Charlie was doing it once a week.
Right.
He opens his car door, plugs it in,
Yeah.
and in less than an hour, it's
Yeah.
fully charged.
Unless you're driving like a taxi, will do hundreds of miles a day.
He said on a fast charger that Tesla will charge up to 80% in 15 minutes.
yeah. Oh yeah. No.
level 3 charger.
The funny thing is when you
watch.
watch the snake feature. So when you watch the snake feature and you park the Tesla in your garage and you press the button and the little flappy doodle opens up on the back of the Tesla and then the wall charger comes out like a snake and it self-inserts itself.
It's a technical term.
real.
For real?
Oh, no, it's real.
Flappy
Yeah.
Doodle's technical.
Yeah. So, okay, back to the story.
Back to dead cars, not live cars.
Yeah.
In the graveyard, the Harley Fat Bob.
Oh no! I was just about to order one of those.
No, okay. So the Harley Fat Boy had its day in the sun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It had its day in the sun, going way back to.
And then it went keto.
Okay. But the Fat Bob was the one that had the two headlights.
Yeah.
So the Fat Bob was the one that was kind of like hey, I know that everything's going to the 108. I know everything's going liquid cooled.
Yeah.
Not us, man. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep a big fat tire on the back. Brother. Well, the Dyna's long gone, so they had to find something else.
Let's
right?
smoke some Marlboro Reds and go.
I do tend to agree with you, Andrew. Gas good, battery bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and you know what's going to happen now?
Right.
Those are going to become retro, and everyone's going to want the dual headlight.
The dual headlight.
It's going to
Just like they want the shitty
It's
ass
gonna
boat
happen.
seat from the 70s.
When you can't get it, they want it more.
They're going to want, Dyna's
Like, I'm
became.
I'm interested in buying one of those electric
Right.
Italian.
And
Energica.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I'd love to ride one now.
'cause
You know,
parts
like, you're
support-
like, yeah, that's great.
Because
I'm
parts support went from awful to unobtainium.
if you're gonna
It
get
literally just went that bad.
But
If you're-
that again is
Yeah.
like the standard for why does a company fail
Mm.
if you cannot get parts for your bike.
Yep.
It's a paperweight.
It is.
I tell people like
I drive past one.
I got this rare bike. I go, does it run? And can you get parts for it?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
I drive up West 210th by Westgate Mall, and I drive up West 210, and right out in front of the guy's house
Rare doesn't make it valuable.
Right.
right.
is an Energica Rebel. It's a badass street fighter. It's a gorgeous bike. It makes me happy in my pants region, right? It's a beautiful,
Oh, look,
beautiful
it's
bike.
smiling.
It's such a good bike. It's such a cool looking bike. And about 7 months ago, I was like, why do you suppose Dude Man is parking a $23,000 dead sexy street fighter motorcycle on the outside of his attached garage ranch house in Westlake?
Do you think he wants it to disappear?
And it ain't chained to nothing.
Sure. Yeah.
And
It's insured.
Yeah. It's very
sure
much
it's
insured.
I'm sure it's insured.
Good evening,
But-
Marshall Thompson.
Hey, Marshall Thompson, what's going on, bud? How you doing?
He said good evening.
Good to see you again. But the deal is a lot of people are scared to park them in their house because they're going to burn their house down.
Right.
A lot of people are scared to charge them in their garage because it's burning the garage down. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Again, I told you guys over 40 of them caught fire and burned to the ground and eliminated a whole race series in one swell foop.
As Chris Smith would say, woof.
That was probably the sound it made.
Hey, Greg.
Yes.
Since you want something that's kind of impossible to get parts for, but is a little bit more affordable than the Energica, and it fits the same bill. One word: Bramo.
Bramo. I'm sure AD will sell you his old Zero instead. Which, okay.
Because Polaris bought Bramo.
It's gone.
and it's
gone. But anyway, the guys parked the fucking thing outside, but I've never seen it running. I've never seen it move a spot. I've never seen it move an inch. And the other day when I drove by there, I couldn't help but notice the tire was flat. Ooh. So I'm like, okay, here's our situation. I know the guy. He's come into my shop. When we were getting ready to onboard them, he was the first guy that showed up and was like, so I hear you're getting an Energica. And I was
He's
like,
not the guy that bought yours. Okay.
no, he was an early adopter. He already had his. Yeah. He drove to Chicago to get his.
The guy from Ireland says they had hot swappable batteries in Sweden 10 years ago.
They did.
There you go.
Absolutely. And that's my point. I didn't want to be a dick about it. But in 20 years, we are going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
and going, what the hell was wrong with us? Because yes, hot swappable
Well, I mean,
batteries.
we're Americans. We're banging the rocks together to make noise.
I mean, that's what it is. So the Harley Fat Bob's gone. But then I did some more research and I was like, well, the Harley lineup. So I went to Harley's website and I was like, the lineup looks a little weird. Harley doesn't have any 350s.
They don't have any small bikes.
Not yet. They're working with QJ. They're working with Benelli QJ to bring in some small bikes. Those aren't here yet. They will be, but they're not here yet because Harley is going to get onto the 400 train. Just like Harley, though, they're going to get onto it about 3 years too late.
But it's not going to be a V-twin.
No, it's a single.
Yeah, like a
single or
single,
parallel
yeah,
twin. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, parallel twin actually.
Did
Parallel
they try
twin.
that already with the 700 or
The
Well, they
five.
had the Street 350 and the Street 500.
Unfortunately, they were from India, not the good part, and they sold like nothing. I mean,
And then they
went
tried-
lead on the dance floor.
And then the before that they had the Blast, which was a really great horrible bike. I mean, they make great street trackers.
But
and boat
in
anchors.
case you didn't
Exactly.
cry over the Harley Fat Bob, you will shed one tear for the official demise of the Harley Davidson 883, 1200, Sportster, 48, Iron, and every other goddamn version of it. It's official, my friends. It's over.
Really?
The Iron Head is done.
Pour one out.
Pour one out. The Sportster Evo is no longer
Now
part of the
that
company.
price just went up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those became collector's items just now.
I'm selling
mean,
one tomorrow, I think.
The
So-
bikes that they
the blue
couldn't
one.
sell.
that blue one's nice.
I think that blue one's going away.
I mean,
tomorrow.
gorgeous.
there are a million of them out there.
Sure.
Yeah,
But there
we're not
are
going to
no
run
new
out
ones.
anytime soon. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But again,
There's no new ones coming down the line.
it didn't survive 2024.
But you know what? I wonder if some of the Harley dealers that had a few left over didn't just push them in the back room for 2026. Like, hey, remember the sports? I happen to have one.
Hey, man.
You know what? You know what, Sleepy? If I've seen the Power Sport auction and know any better, no, they don't have to push them in the back to hide them for 2 more years. They're just going to stay on the floor.
Well, actually, what I did discover in looking at this is that the 2024, the Sportsters that were sold for 2023 and 2024 were VIN altered 2022s. So they did have a bunch that didn't sell, and they were released as 23s and 24s.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say VIN altered too loudly. I'm just going to say they were in the warehouse.
Yeah.
I see what you mean about the 5-second delay because I was like,
Yeah.
what's it like if I move my hand? And I'm like, I'm not moving.
No, it's 5
And
seconds.
then 5 seconds later, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we cannot do a live call-in. It's impossible.
No.
It would be easier to talk to Antarctica
Yep.
on a landline. Yeah, right. So Sportster, gone.
Yep.
Joshua
GS
Clark says I already decided to keep my Evo Sportster even before they were gone.
Right, exactly. Right. And it's still, like I said, I spent last week riding one almost exclusively. It's a great bike.
Probably a good decision,
No complaints. Right. No complaints.
according to Uncle Phil.
Okay, gone. This one's going to hurt. Suzuki GSXR 600.
No.
You should hold on to the one you just got because it's now a
what is
collector's
Karma
item.
and Eastlake and Willoughby going to do?
It's gone.
Yeah.
I will tell you
gone.
this. One of our young members, he has a Buell. He has a Buell Lightning. His name's Thomas. And he just sent me, check this out. ClevelandMoto is coming out with a 630 something, like a 6 something. It's a sport bike. And it's got a 2-year warranty and this, that, and like the technology is there. And he's really thinking about picking one up. And I said, there's plenty of sport bikes out there, like you could buy them used. He knows how to work on bikes, He's like, I want something I could just go, get on and go. And he's looking at the ClevelandMoto. I'm like, there's some companies that are coming out with some nice stuff that like you really wouldn't think like that's going to be what the young people are into.
Yeah.
And it surprised me. He goes, I might buy one of these. $8,000, but
And there's like,
Cheap is generally always attractive to a certain
it is.
It is.
But you
And
know
if-
what's crazy is like that ClevelandMoto stuff. A lot of people aren't hip to it. So like, there's
Right.
a dude that's selling that Adventura, right? The 650, fully bagged out with shad bags all the way around it with 1,000 miles for $3,000.
Yeah, well, they're $39.99 brand new at the dealership.
But that's not with all the luggage and all. I'm
No,
saying
that's
this
with
thing's-
boxes. So if you
really?
want to go right now to your local ClevelandMoto dealer and buy
insane.
buy a leftover 2023 Aventura in your choice of either blue, I think, or silver.
Yeah.
Only 2 colorways.
Yeah.
But they are doing. I just saw an ad 2 days ago for
It was a
$39
solid
and
bike.
$99.
It was a solid bike, man.
So the problem is, if you'd have told Phil and I about 8 years ago you had a CF Moto, we would have laughed at you. And if you told us you were bringing it in, we would have punched you in the face.
Well, obviously they changed
Because, well, they may not have changed anything. They may have upgraded their plastics. But until I see one and have to deal with it, I don't know. I haven't seen one yet.
By the way,
All I know is when I went into Gatto Cycles, that in Pennsylvania, that's been there for 50 years, they had as much CF Moto as they had Honda, as they had anything else. And it was,
I had a
and every CF Moto, from the smallest little thing up to their mega side-by-side sports utility fucking thing, it was silly.
Right now, leftover, brand new, 0 miles at a dealership that shall remain nameless, but is in the state of Ohio. And they're being sold brand new for $4,591 all in with bags.
and
John Reed from Seattle thanking us for the live show.
so the one for $3,000, you talk the guy down, maybe 28 cash, and you got a deal.
Hey, man,
it's only got $1,000,
I mean, dude,
1,000 miles on it.
$45.99 with a full warranty.
And it's a Kawasaki. It's like
basically, yeah.
You look at John's bike and
Yeah.
the plastic's different, but the seating position, the motor, everything about it.
Oh, that's kind of what I was going to, I almost wanted to say that when they're getting rid of the Gixxer 600, I'm like, a lot of people are really liking just the parallel twin and getting close to the same horsepower. I mean, I don't know. And a lot simpler and different, pretty comfortable riding, like.
And a bit of a follow-up to that, because a lot of people, when they heard like the GSXR 600, which is just a real treat in the super sport class, but it's been around. It's been around for a really goddamn long time. So at least they're not getting rid of the GSXR 750. And especially not getting rid of the GSXR 1000, because those are pinnacle. That's next year.
Sure.
No, seriously, not joking.
I believe it.
Those are going away next year.
Really?
So the GSXR 1000, that doesn't make it through 2025. They've already announced
You've heard it here first.
Well, no, they stopped selling them in Europe already.
Really?
Mike
So they're
Tully
just-
says wait till tariffs. I mean, I'm guessing that.
Well, that's going to be. We're not going to get into that.
But that.
Are they coming out something to replace it, or?
They've got a bunch of stuff in the lineup, that's
okay.
there, but I'm guessing that probably they're probably looking to replace a very expensive to build motor with a parallel twin that's not so expensive to build,
Yeah,
right.
And then just do what Kawasaki did with their 400 Ninjas, where you can buy a 400 Ninja 4-cylinder if you want to go on the racetrack. But you can buy a parallel twin if you just want a lightweight, inexpensive motorcycle drive around the
Do
neighborhood.
you think inherently you would never be able to get the same horsepower out of a twin as a 4-cylinder?
I guess what I would say is it's a different application of power.
same
Right.
horsepower at
The
lower
power delivery is going to be different.
power with lower RPM.
But also think about this with MotoGP and everybody moving to V4s. I mean, I think a lot of the Yamaha supposedly maybe they killed the R1, but supposedly working on a V4.
That's exactly right.
So I wonder if Suzuki's not like,
When you have money to spend,
right.
I guess there's a reason Honda built a 6-cylinder 250 because it could make a lot of horsepower.
Well, that's cylinder
Spinny.
cylinder multiplication.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're saying about a 4-cylinder 400 and a parallel twin 400.
Yeah.
It just makes me think of the CB 350 and the CB 350 F4.
Right.
Yep.
Marshall Thompson
Because
says,
I had one of those, and that 4 was amazing.
Totally
bike.
different animal.
isn't
totally
the
different than
YZRF R1 track only
I think you can still buy
starting
them
this year or next year?
I think that they're still purchasable, streetable, but I don't think they've canceled the streetable of the R1. Do you know any more about that? I don't know anymore.
I thought it was the last year of the R1.
I thought it was too. I thought it's done.
I think it's done.
I think it's donezo.
And Mr. Hagen from Ireland says CF Moto here going crazy.
Yeah, it's going
He
apeshit.
said the on-road prices and 4-year warranty can't be beaten.
Right.
Oh, 4-year warranty there. Dang.
I'm still looking
Take
for
a lesson from Hyundai.
no kidding.
I'm still looking for a CF Moto Papio SS.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
I want one of those.
I think
Those googly eyes up there.
Googly
Yeah,
eyes up
dude.
front. All right. Another one that's going to be hard to accept. In the graveyard. This one hurts. The Yamaha FJR 1300. Oh. That bike is a nail. I do not know of, and I'm sorry, Wendy. That's her bike. And she's
put it
gone
this
through
way.
5 of those, right?
Like there's FJR,
Hundreds of thousands of miles.
FJR clubs that
Yeah.
are like 50 years old.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
The first FJR 1200 I rode, I was like, oh man, I'm not ready for this yet, but someday I will be. Yeah, I borrowed one from a buddy for a little while, and I was like, God damn, this is a great motorcycle. And it just had power everywhere. It was just a complete power machine. The FJR 1300, that does hurt because that was one of those ones that, you know, all these guys that do super long distance riding, you're like, oh, you know, you're doing it on a Goldwing or a big ass BMW. That's great. I'm so happy for you. Oh, well, what are you doing it on? An FJR 1300. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay. Because if you wanted to get like 200,000 miles out of a motor at never dropping below 80 miles an hour, Wendy will tell you, like, that's the way to do it. And I have mad respect for her. And that the FJR 13 has been her chosen steed for a damn long time.
You know, she's out there sucking them up like just anyone with under 10 grand.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's
That'll be
grabbing
the
all of
next
them.
one.
There's a
Oh, it's discontinued now? Oh, I mean, you mean it's obsolete.
Right.
Yeah.
she's got a garage full of them now, just holding on to them. They're all.
She has them
has
just
a
stashed in
garage
other
full- yeah.
countries.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
For long distance
Well,
trips.
and there's a case point for like our garage where people, hey, I love this bike. I can't go buy one brand new,
Knack
but I
just
bought
do
this
it.
one. I'm gonna fix it up because I love this bike. I mean, that's what we got.
It looks like Knack is online.
Knock just
Knock is online. Fuck Knock.
Fuck knock.
Fuck Knock. Jesus Christ. #1 exotic.
Not me. I love Knock. Hi, Knock.
We all love Knock. Last I'm gonna talk about, and then we can add in the peanut gallery can chime in whoever you want. This one I want to pour a little out for because this one hurts me on a core level. The Kawasaki Concourse.
No.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a fucking sin right there.
Chris Smith
bad.
just
That
dropped
is-
a little eye there.
That's terrible.
Oh, say it ain't so,
That's
man.
terrible.
There's
Adam Delella says killing the FJR 1300 is almost like trying to kill the KLR.
yeah.
Cults are
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree. The Kawasaki
They're writing
Concourse.
strongly worded emails.
There
as we
has
speak.
never been a bad version of the Kawasaki Concourse. Little tip. If you told me today that Honda was killing off the Goldwing, I would feel slightly more emotional than Kawasaki killing off the Concourse. Because the Concourse, in any one of its versions, was best of show. It towed the line perfectly between does everything and is affordable.
How long has it
It's
been?
not expensive to fix. It's never going to break.
Yeah.
in some of these cases though. When maybe hopefully it's an out with the old and in with the new.
Oh man! So
when you-
show me the Kawasaki Concourse Mark II. Right.
You know what I mean? Like maybe they'll come out with something.
You know,
but don't they
an
have
1100cc Kawasaki Concourse Hybrid?
But what about the 1300?
don't want it.
Don't they have a Concourse 1300?
Concourse is already a 1400.
This is the X14.
So they'll probably go to 16 or something
It's
like that.
it's the Hayabusa.
No, the Concourse line is
the Hayabusa killer.
All gone.
So they killed it right before its 40th birthday. Because 1986 was the first concourse.
Yeah.
I
So
had
now-
one with over 100K.
That strikes the question of is the Hayabusa next?
I'm
There have been rumors of that for years.
I'm not going to
man.
fall asleep tonight.
Right? Oh, they're asking?
I mean, I don't care because I never want to work with one of those bastards again. But it's the Hayabusa next
to me,
because
it's-
I will throw a party if that bastard gets canceled.
What, Hayabusa?
The Hayabusa? I will throw
That's
a
a great
fucking
bike,
party,
dude.
I disagree. I
The
think
problem
they're
is,
fine.
I always see them when they're 10 years old and beat the shit and have one fucking caliper on them and half the
Okay.
rotors are gone.
Okay.
The fucking things are garbage.
We got one of those at the
I
garage.
hate them.
I hate all children because my child is special.
I don't know. I
My
hate-
child has special needs, so all children are broken.
No, I hate all children.
Well, you were talking about the Goldwing, if they said they were going to cancel it, but look at where the Goldwing started, and it was four opposed,
Flat plane four.
1,000, then
It
it
was
went
a-
to 1,200,
It
then
was
it
the
went to
Volkswagen Beetle of motorcycles.
Right,
yeah.
right. But I'm saying that, and even now, the new Goldwing is you can get it automatic,
Right.
or you can get it manual. Like there's all options. It's like they never really like
The airbag and the coffee
everything,
maker.
all
and
that stuff, the back massager, leg warmers, but for them to get rid of the Concourse, which is like you said, a stable.
It's a stable.
It's
and it's been refined to the point of jewel-like perfection.
Right.
Do you think it has anything to do? Remember, weren't they going back to like the original like Kawasaki Verhagen or whatever their name was? What was it?
You mean the Kawasaki Vulcan 1400 or like
no, like
the Voyager?
The whole company. Didn't they just merge or unmerge or something happened?
I don't know.
With the original
the
logo.
Star concept? Is that what you're talking about?
No, something to do with Kawasaki, but they're going back to like their.
No, that's Yamaha. Anyway.
They went back to their branding and like way back in the 50s or something, they were bringing the branding of whatever Kawasaki was back. So I wonder if that has something to do with them killing one of these brands that was like after that change to the current Kawasaki that we know of. If that makes sense.
All right, but
So Nissan's bringing Datsun back. Gotcha.
I guess
it's something like that. I'm telling you. I'll try to find it.
All right. But I guess my issue is that how many Kawasaki Concourse do you have to not sell to have somebody at the corporate division go, we need to stop making those?
Well, I mean, if you look at those, what's the MSRP of the Concourse and the what's the other one that was there?
I don't know. It's a metric shit ton. If you're buying a Concourse, you're not buying it because of the price.
They should have never left the 1100. If they'd have just kept making the 1100, they could have made it forever because it's already bought and paid for. And
this,
people would have just keep
well, the ZX14
it'd be like the KLR. You could still just keep selling it forever.
Well, I mean, the ZX14's been paid for 20 years.
But it does share that's been the beauty of the Concourse is from day one, the Concourse was, let's take our sport bike motor and let's slide it into a cross-country sport tourer. And let's do everything about it using existing off-the-shelf parts to make parts homogenization very affordable and approachable and easy to live with.
Well, that's what Marshall Thompson said. Isn't the Concourse MK2 the supercharged Ninja Sport Tourer?
Okay.
So take an H2 and make it a touring bike.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it the...
Okay, he's not entirely wrong, except for the fact that the Concourse is a sit-upright bike. The Concourse is bagging, like it's got storage.
But take the H2 motor and put it in a different frame.
Right.
Right.
So,
and you call it a Concourse.
To prove that I'm not just an idiot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kawasaki has reintroduced the Meguro brand.
Meguro?
So it used to be Meguro Kawasaki, and then they changed it to Kawasaki. But trademarks put into the European Union, New Zealand, Australia, the U.S., and Philippines have said that they're registering a trademark change back to the Kawasaki Meguro, or however name.
That's so weird.
So I wonder if they're doing that. Like I said, maybe that's so they're trying to rebrand it and bring it back to what it was. So they're killing off.
And it'll be a 1600.
Yeah, so then they can bring back like whatever the famous or early motorcycle, whatever that was. I wonder if they don't bring that back as their flagship if they're moving forward with this new name.
Weird. Okay.
You mean old name?
Old name. Yeah, whatever.
Marshall Thompson, wouldn't it be the H2T for touring?
Touring, that's right.
He said H2S. I would think it'd be H2T.
So you do an H2T, but it would still be supercharged. I would, and you know what? Out of just pure fucking awesomeness, I would keep the Concourse, and I would be Concourse SC supercharged, and I would market it the exact same way it was, because I'm going to say in my circle of friends, I know 25 people that are just like, oh, you got a Concourse you want to get rid of? I'll take it.
Yeah.
When we did when we did that Kentucky Red River Gorge run and everything else, there was a dude on a Kawasaki 1400 Concourse that T-shirt, T-shirt, flip-flops, the whole deal. You couldn't catch him. Mm-hmm. Good luck. You fucking couldn't catch him. And this guy was just straight up drinking a beverage and throwing it through the corners. And it was so fast.
The last time we went to Grumpy Sir Guy's place up in New York, Smith rode his Concourse to New York.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I think it's Mike Waddle. He brings up a good point. The ADV bikes have replaced the sport touring bikes.
Oh, so God, that's a shame.
Everybody's gone ADV, and they're not buying up the sport.
I invite any of you who believe that the ADV is a good replacement for a Concourse to ride my Triumph 1200 Scrambler at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, but that's not. That's a Scrambler.
It's a retro.
But you don't have the wind protection. I forgot.
No, you don't, and that's the fucking problem.
Yeah, because
right?
like when me and B went on that ride, I hadn't ridden the Africa Twin in a while, and he got that. I was like, I'm not cold. I'm not anything. Right. Nothing is.
So the Africa Twin has enough
Ireland
Yeah,
already said that there is an H2X that already comes with a top box and side bags. That there's already a touring H2.
They get all the cool stuff in Europe, though.
Right. Yeah, not here.
I think
Yeah, right.
H2SX.
H2SX. Yeah, the SX. Okay, got it.
'Cause it's
I mean, they
sexy.
did. They got the Interceptor X. So they got the V4 Interceptor X that we didn't get.
We got the FJRX for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but literally, if you blinked, you missed it.
I'm pretty sure, Marshall Thompson, you can come sit on the Torno anytime you want.
Okay. All right, folks. I have to alert you to the fact that the Kawasaki H2, the Kawasaki. Hold on. The Kawasaki H2 SX SE. I got it all out. That was tough.
Sexy.
Yeah, I have to alert you to the fact that although this is it's from the Elon Musk school of naming shit. Yeah,
It literally is sexy.
it is truly from the Elon Musk school of naming shit. I unfortunately have to alert you that
that's
these are
sex. That
these
is
are
There you
sexy.
go. SEXE.
That's very
It
sexy.
looks like the Batmobile
XE.
fucking bike.
you cannot simply take a pair of bags off of the Versus 1000, put it on an H2, and call it a sport touring.
Well, they added the
It's not a
Batwing.
replacement. It's not a replacement for the Concourse.
And yet here we
it's
are.
just not. It's not.
That is not an
That is
riding
not
position.
a replacement for the Concourse.
And forever going forward, this will be the Kawasaki Sexy.
Kawasaki.
sexy.
Kawasaki.
Sex
I
crime.
see what you did there. Game recognizes game. I do.
Look at. If
Don't
you
get me
look-
wrong.
I give him credit for the paint because the back of the bag disappears and it just looks like the tail of the bike is there. That's
Yes.
all right, man.
Oh yeah. That is strategic use of black mouflage.
Yeah.
Right.
Who wants to make a bet? Like it's
Right.
not a month before Phil has one of those in his garage.
No, I think we're pretty safe on that.
He wants to
as a
sell.
trade-in.
Dude, that sexy will look really good.
I had
next to your
the big
Japanese bus.
Kawasaki K bike. I had all the, I've had a lot of 186 mile an hour motorcycles that call themselves sport touring bikes.
Only if they'd like to trade this in for a Vespa GTV.
No, I got 2 more zeros to get rid of.
Two more
Dude,
zeros.
I've
So-
heard these are really nice bikes to ride. Though.
Oh no!
I heard
Okay,
they're comfortable.
Let
as
me
fuck.
clarify one. It is amazing. It's got to be amazing.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
it's brilliant. I'm sure it's great. But you know what? It's not. It's not a Concourse.
Not as easy.
Do you know why I know it's not a Concourse? Because that windshield won't keep your dick dry.
No.
And also the
and a
pegs are way
Kawasaki-
If you're
too low.
standing up, it will.
And a Kawasaki Concourse will keep your passenger dry.
Right.
So
And you can smoke a cigarette
But
behind
also,
you.
Their dick will be dry.
the pegs are too low on here because the original Concourse, the pegs started about the middle of the bike.
That's right. That
was the only
Which was a
thing.
tough one if
Yeah.
you're taller than
If you're
5'9".
Yeah. I remember when you got there, you were holding your knees. You said, I wish the pegs were a little lower.
No, yeah, that bike definitely
No,
needed lowering.
I said I
pegs.
wish the pegs were a lot lower.
A lot lower, right? A lot lower. A hell of a lot lower. Yeah. I am of the opinion that if you want a Hayabusa to be a sport touring bike, go buy a Kawasaki Concourse 1400.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was in 2015. So now they're cheap and cheerful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could buy yourself a 9-year-old Concourse ZX 1400. Whoa.
With 60,000 miles on it.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Fuel
who cares?
injected, you're good.
You're never going to scare me with the mileage on a Concourse.
I need a cupcake.
Get a cupcake, John. I'll deliver you a cupcake. Somebody else has to talk, though.
So we got Mike Tully says that good police bike equals good sport touring bike.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point.
Good. Anyone else need a cupcake? That's an excellent point. A great police, if it's a good police bike, it's a good sport touring bike. And that holds true. Old BMW R1100 RT, damn good police bike, damn
Honda
good sport
ST,
touring bike.
Honda ST
Honda
1300.
ST 11, 13, whatever you got, damn good police bike.
Is that still going?
I don't know.
I wonder if they're still
Don't
making
they
that.
use
Was a
don't they
great
use the
bike.
Goldwing? They use the new Goldwings now?
Maybe.
Different
Maybe.
departments.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a Road King police bike, and I'll tell you, it's a pretty decent touring bike.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say that real loud, but you know, yeah. I mean, we don't need that rumor going around. But it's so hard to look at this picture of this Kawasaki.
What the?
That is a Kawasaki 1400. That's a Kawasaki Concourse 1400. That's what that is. That's a great bike. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Are we still casting?
That's something.
Hey, Dan's still looking?
I believe so. Everybody's making comments.
Yeah, we are.
All right,
Spinning galleries in.
Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure it didn't go to sleep. I had to go into my
Like me.
developer settings to make sure that my camera didn't turn
No,
off.
see, and here's
I
the
had to
thing.
wait for the delay to see you walk across.
Oh yeah, that's going to take a minute.
So just
Yeah.
give me a minute, because like now that we know where you can do this and people will participate,
Right.
Like we do this at work, so I'll bring some stuff. We'll do a little OBS. We'll get it. It'll be good.
Just right.
This was
right.
just a little. This was dipping
This
the
was
old
a
toe.
taste.
Yeah, a little toe in the water.
Don't expect greatness our
Just a
first
tip.
time out.
Just a tip. We don't want to give you the
First,
shaft
second.
just yet. Just
Everybody
gonna give
remembers
you
the first time they tried sex.
Yeah.
Once you get past
One
the
too
smell.
good at it.
Right.
Right. One too good at it. Took
Daddy,
a few.
Daddy, are you sure this is right?
Took a few to get it just right.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That
What did Tom go to?
There's a 5-second delay there.
Yeah, it's 5 second delay. That's the Kawasaki Concourse, the 1400 is one of those machines that you're just like, yep. Yeah. And that is truly Busa like styling.
They had all the lights, all the headlights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all the headlights. Oh yeah, there's like 6 headlights.
They're
in that
like, how
fucking
much?
thing.
How much room do you want
Yeah.
for the headlights? They're like, how much you got?
Right.
Like the whole
yeah.
front end. Just give me it all for the headlights.
Well, I had that. Remember, I had that ZX14R, that Ninja, and I had that ZX14R.
Everybody, they're saying they love the BMW S1000 XR.
Everyone loves it. We're not talking about it because it's not dead. Right. When it dies, we'll talk about it. In the meantime, you can just
I
go out
like
and
the
buy one.
900 XR, but thank you very much.
Yeah. Also a great bike. Also a fantastic bike.
More nimble.
Can anybody else think about a bike that doesn't exist anymore?
How about you guys on the that are watching? Send us a message about a bike that doesn't
Right.
exist
Yeah.
anymore.
Tell us one we missed.
I think they should
Marshall
bring.
Thompson says the Multistrada V4.
Is it dead?
No, I think he's saying it's a good.
Oh, it's a good bike.
It's a good sport.
I agree.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
And the one that's like 42,000. Oh man, that'll make you have a tent pant like you never even seen before.
I got to tell you, I have one of those every day
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Uh-huh.
I know.
because you've never seen it before.
Hey. Oh. I'm actually pretty happy that is only $23,400 for the Ducati. Yeah, for that bike.
No, there's one that's the V4.
Oh wait, I'm
RS or
sorry. That's the
whatever.
RS is $39,000.
That's the one. Yeah.
Man, that hurts.
No, Mark showed me that at the Ducati dealership, and I was slobbering over it. And then he goes, "Yeah, by the way, that's 40 grand." I was like, "Oh my!" He left that part out.
Listen, it's only $199 a month.
No, that's
For how many months?
That's children's
For
lives.
the rest of your life and your children's
nah,
life.
that's more like a $600-700 a month bike payment. I've never had a bike payment. That's ridiculous.
But you know what though? I gotta say that couple $100 a month that you're prepaying for your service contract, it's totally worth it.
That is a sexy bike, though.
I don't think
That's a wide bike, though.
I don't agree. I don't think it's sexy.
No.
No, I think they stole a page from the KTM
Catalog.
catalog. I do. I think the
That's
little
not
vents on the side of the
worth of
schnabel.
motorcycle in anybody's. I don't
No,
care what-
dude. Watch the
no.
guys who ride that.
No, I don't
That's
have
a super
to.
bike in motor and a touring
I
bike.
don't even care.
So
Because in my mind,
Dave
no bike
King-
is worth $40,000.
Oh, dude, I'm greasing my wiener right now looking
So
at that.
I went looking for
I'm
canceled
sure
bikes
that's
in
not all you're
2024
Yeah.
to see what was coming up that had been canceled 24. FTR 1200 is going away in 2025.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong with you that you're getting rid of the FTR?
Indians getting rid of the Flat Tracker 1200.
Oh, yeah.
Not this
that's,
year though.
No, so run out and get one because, God, that's an amazing bike.
Dave
That
King
was a
just
really cool
reminded us the Thruxton is gone.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
Oh, that's sad.
In fact, Ian Wally, our friend up, Reverend Snowback.
Yeah.
Reverend Snowback bought the last Thruxton. Not the last Thruxton. They're literally calling this bike this year the last Thruxton.
Right.
So the marketing department at Triumph was like, I wonder how we're going to sell this bike. We've had to discontinue it because nobody's buying it anymore. Cafe racers are a thing of the past. What should we call it? Let's call it the last Thruxton. Because
Wait.
Steve McQueen's already been taken.
Now we sold a shit ton of them. We can't discontinue them. What are we going to do?
Call it the second to last Thruxton.
Okay, we're another trucks.
They just add an X. The Thruxton.
The Thruxton Revival.
The R1250 GS Adventure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but that's okay.
We're looking
it didn't
ahead.
die. It's an R1300 now.
Oh, right, true.
Right. So yes, technically the GS 1250 did die because it was replaced by the 1300. That doesn't qualify as a headstone.
Wasn't it 1200 before and then
It was an 1100. It was 1,000 before
It
that.
goes back to the Airhead.
I remember when it was made.
Airhead
it's like,
850,
yeah.
There's no headstone for that.
No.
You're just getting bigger. Yes. And so are the people who buy you.
And they fucked the headlight up.
They fucked everything on that bike up. It looks like a fucking
Or what,
suitcase
no,
on a
did you
pair of
see the
wheels.
GSA now? Oh, that's the one.
That's the one.
That's
yeah,
the one.
the new one. They were. Oh my god!
They
is that
hired the
hideous.
same guy to design the bike that designed the saddlebags.
Yes.
Right. They're like, I would like a saddlebag in the middle of this motorcycle.
The guys that like this bike tend to put boxes on them. So why don't we make the bike?
We heard you like boxes.
The box.
Dave Osher says the FTR is going away because they banned it from racing.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was beating Harley.
Because it's winning.
Yeah.
So they changed the brackets. I guess they changed the rules or something.
Well, yeah, because Harley's losing. They have to change the fucking rules. I mean, that's the way it is. They
Or Harley could build a better bike.
Well,
but-
no,
Yeah.
they're
When
not
I
going to
think-
do that. But like in the Battle of the Twins and shit back in the day, Harley had everything. Like they bought all the stuff. So
Yeah,
they
I get.
all
I mean, I
fucking canceled.
understand that and I get it. But the fact that I actually always thought that the FTR 1200 was a beautiful bike.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
I thought it was a
wonderful
gorgeous
bike.
motorcycle.
Beautiful.
I'm not going to tell you if I won the lottery, but you would fucking know.
But I mean, for
fucking
Indian
thing.
to quit doing it, it must have been super duper not selling.
Yep.
Um,
Which is truly a
This
shame.
looks like some Johnny Five fucking weird. I like weird bikes, and I've always appreciated BMW's eccentric looks, but
Right.
this is fucking ugly, man.
Well, and I think that it's funny that it's very hard to find a picture of it
It's a
with its
Lego
luggage
bike.
in the
Didn't
same
you-
point, because if you see it with the luggage on, it's just too much square aluminum.
You
much
posted
luggage.
on Facebook about the new Africa Twin. It's flat black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were right when you're like, if you get it dirty, it's very hard to clean up. And it's like, yeah, who thought but no, it's the same thinking that flat black is cool. Adventure bikes are cool. Let's make a flat black adventure bike.
It's ridiculous.
They're not riders making the decisions.
Well-
they're the guys in the suits going, we need to sell
And
what's cool.
But also, you're Honda, right? If you want to fucking sell an adventure bike, make it red, white, and blue with
Yes,
some
exactly.
fucking
Gold
gold
wheels.
rims, and you
Exactly.
fucking sell 20 billion.
Exactly.
So Phil, on the
Exactly.
same line of this thing, what's that Honda? What's the only
Oh my
BMW
God.
electric scooter you've been able to buy for the past 6 months because of all the recall?
ECE31.
But it looks like that with that weird square.
Dude, I guarantee you that like Adventure Tech or whoever already has like 7 more boxes that
yeah.
you can clip on to all that other shit just to fucking. So it's gonna look like that AI generated Starbucks.
Exactly. So for the
Did
first
they-
time
did
ever.
they do away with the paralever? When did that happen?
No,
for the
it's still-
The
GS.
front end.
Yeah,
It's
the
still,
GS.
I think it's still a television.
Is it a pair?
No, it's not.
It's
I don't-
not.
I-
I think it
Oh.
is.
Is that a
It's hard to
conventional
tell.
fork?
No,
No,
they
those are
always got
televers.
thicker. They always
Yeah.
got thicker, but
Yeah,
it was
those
still a
are televers,
television.
yeah. But you know what kills me about this is it's the first time in my lifetime that I've looked at a motorcycle and thought those big dumb aluminum boxes look better than the motorcycle they're hanging on.
Yeah.
And that's true. It is absolutely true. The headlight looks like it arrives pre-broken.
It looks like it.
Yeah,
it looks
it's-
like an.
It
It's like a
looks like
starfish missing a couple legs.
It looks like an R65 LS got punched out.
Starfish on the wrong end.
It literally looks like an R65 fairing with an X in the middle of it.
it does. It's not attractive.
So
And-
your bike is offensive.
You guys laugh, but I guarantee there's a line of people there
yeah.
waiting to get these.
Oh yeah.
and
It's just like the iPhones. It doesn't do anything to the old iPhone,
Yeah.
but you want the new.
yeah, you want the fashion. You want the
You have
somebody-
2 headlights.
Somebody has to buy this bike so that in 15 years I can buy it for $1,200
Right,
with a blown fuel
right.
pump.
Well,
So they can sit in your garage for 13
Exactly.
years.
if you're a real off-road adventure rider, you would not say that's the bike for me.
No. Dude, the first time you ride at a
That's-
big adventure bike and the metal box touches the back of your leb going up a curb on a driveway, you're like, yeah, I'm not taking this off-road
Right.
with those on the back.
No,
You can go down a fire
No.
road, but you get off-road with those boxes,
No.
you're breaking your legs, man.
no.
All right.
Dave Nolan used to have 2 legs until he rode one.
Well, wait a minute. We went on an adventure ride, me and Dave, like
Oh,
a couple
yeah,
years
see the
ago,
shock now.
and we went to the. It was in Steubenville, and they had a whole thing where it was 120 guys showed up and camped on this guy's property, and there was one guy that was in our group that had a brand new GS 1250. I still had the temp tag on it. I think this was the first ride that he did. Had all the bags or the hard boxes on the side, right? He dumped that thing at least 8 times that I saw. And when we got back to the guy's property, right behind the guy's property was like a little access road that went up the hill. And me and Dave were like going up and down it. You know, it was cool. There was nothing really to it. Somehow this idiot went left of the trail and ended up he got the bike literally lodged up against a tree and it fell down like part of the hill. So it took 5 of us to kind of pull this whole thing because the bags were stuck against the tree.
That's why I don't put the bikes on my bag anymore.
I'm like, this is the worst adventure bike for a brand new rider or for any kind of, Dave, there's no way he'd be able to pick. He has one. He's not taking it off road. That's his like, I'll ride it around town.
My favorite thing.
I went off road with him with his GS. We went down
the 1250.
Yeah, we went down. I was on my Africa Twin. He was on that. I didn't have my side bags on. He had everything.
Oh
on.
yeah.
We went down. We ended up going up this fucking. I thought I was gonna die a couple times. We were like, I give him credit. He can ride, man.
Dave can ride.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the Guzzi V85, which I think is a great bike. But that's the one that he literally broke his shoulder or collarbone just going over a little curb at an angle. The wheel caught and flipped him over, and that was it.
Threw him on the ground.
He still got the bike. He doesn't. He hasn't ridden it well. His DR 650 is the BDR killer. In his opinion, that's it. But he does have the 1250. And he's got the HP 2, which he just took off road this past weekend. And the other guy
got it fixed, right?
The other guy, the other guy that was riding with him, and I don't know what this is, a Ducati something. Maybe you could tell me what model this thing is. Because the guy, and we're talking about adventure riding, what is that right there?
Oh, that's the Desert
Desert X. Desert X.
I think I saw that at the Ducati dealership.
Yeah, so what happened was one of Dave's buddies says, I'm buying a Desert X. And this guy, I think he's, has a Harley, I want to do some adventure riding. So his first adventure bike is a Ducati, the Ducati Desert X. Right. But whoever owned it put every option and did every kind of thing to it. Dude, if that was the one I saw, it's like ready for fucking Paris Dakar. It's it's set up.
It has auxiliary tanks on the back.
It's got everything. Yeah. The bad thing was, Dave actually rode it. It stands up pretty tall. It's a very tall bike. But
why would that be a problem for you, Greg?
I'm very short myself. No, but
he's gonna get a Panamera, so you can press the button and get slow.
The wheelbase, that thing is so long, and I said, for off-roading, maybe a real good tall guy that's been into motocross and a dirt bike that's extended can ride that thing
you'd have to break the rear end loose just to get around through trees and stuff. Right.
The wheelbase is real long. It's almost like
but it's not made for that. It's made for desert racing, so that's why
it's made for desert racing. Exactly.
Desert sleds have long wheelbases because they have to be stable.
Right. It's not a great. I'm going to go adventure riding through the woods and crawl.
I get that. I totally do. Yeah, I completely.
That's not a bike you want to throw on the ground a lot.
No, you really don't want to throw it on the ground a lot, unless your name's on the back of somebody else's truck.
True,
right?
No, I don't think
somebody else is paying the bills.
Right, but
I don't want to throw me on the ground. Especially.
No, but that bike, you throw a Honda on the ground, right? The badge is $30, the panel's $45.
Right. The mirror's going to cost you $18.
This one, you got to get another loan. Yeah, you're getting a loan for that side panel, dude.
On the Energica, the brake lever, the front brake lever, that our customer broke, there's a brake lever. We all know those are, an item that breaks a fucking lot. $210.
Oh my goodness.
I'll say that again for the cheap seats.
Is the Grieso gone?
Is it gone?
I
think it went away a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Grieso went away a long time ago. Doesn't mean I'm not going to buy one because I am totally going to fucking buy a Grieso.
So Marshall Thompson on here lamenting the loss of the Excelsior Henderson Super X. Come on, it's old enough for historic plates.
No, but I think they came back.
Well, he's talking about the 2000.
Yeah, right. I think they're 24 years old. Yeah, right. Plates. Exactly. Right. Yeah. They right. The Super X its triumphant return, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's one of the definitely. Yeah, that's definitely.
It's
a
like
motorcycle.
saying we lament the loss of Norton. Oh wait, it's back. Oh,
It's
wait,
back. No,
Norton's
it's
gone.
gone.
Oh wait,
Wait, hold
it's
on.
gone. It's back.
Can we
It's
reset
gone.
the clock?
It's gone.
How long's it been since there's been a Norton? I don't know. Who owns the castle?
Right.
Right. Who's in the castle right now? Should we seize? Should we literally lay siege to the castle and take back Norton? Yeah, I have no idea where Norton is right now.
It's okay, Marshall. I wanted one back in the day too.
Oh, you did want one?
I wanted.
You wanted one of those?
Henderson,
Weren't they-
absolutely.
Oh man.
Weren't they just like another Fat Bob SNS powered kind of thing at the very end? Like it was just another SNS motor powered
I
thing.
don't know.
Because we were talking, when you sent this out. The reason
Right.
I bring this up,
Yeah.
is because I was like, let me check and see how Big Dog's doing. I was like,
Oh my God.
Oh, they're gone.
Oh, Big Dog.
And then alert is like, oh no, Big Dog. It actually, their website actually is Big Dog is back. I'm like, why?
From the left hand of the, I mean,
They can't be doing the big tire rear
Oh
thing.
no, they still are.
Oh, my
It's all the same. It's the same bikes they released in 2005.
Have you
all the same way?
Wow.
have you guys heard of Confederate?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have-
But now they
Motorcycles?
changed.
The
It's
Hellcat
now-
or whatever.
now they're called Curtis.
Well, there
Yes.
was a
Motors.
guy that came into our shop. Then I think in
Did JT
San
come up-
Diego.
Did JT come up here? Oh,
he had a co-op like skid mark in San Diego or something like that. But he's like the only authorized guy to work on Confederate bikes, and he travels across the country like twice a year because he will pick up 2 bikes and then take them back to his shop and then deliver 2 bikes and then pick up 2 bikes. Like he's the only one to work on them, and he'll travel because he was in town picking up one in Columbus and then delivering another one. I think to someone in Lakewood maybe, but like he literally was like, I will make it my point to come in wherever you are, pick up your bike because I'm auzed to work on it.
That
I'm
is
like,
fucking
I didn't even know
hysterical.
a Confederate.
oh yeah. No,
I will just submit it for your approval.
Was that a Ridley?
On the screen is
looks like a Ridley.
Is that a Ridley? It looks like a Ridley. I think it's a Ridley. I'm pretty sure it's a Ridley.
I own the Ridley.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's a Ridley.
Greg, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
This is the Excelsior Henderson Super X. This is death by exposed fork springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leading link
like-
front suspension.
I kind of like how the forks go through the.
If you want to change the front fender, you have to take the entire motorcycle apart.
Is that a trailing link?
It is a leading link, isn't it?
No,
This is like
because the fork comes down and then it goes back.
What year was this?
No, but I think the fork is the springy bit. 2000.
This looks
Yeah,
like you told AI to create a fucking.
This is literally
that looks like AI. This is AI generated.
right.
That's
When
the
you
caliper
that's
holder.
real.
Right, when you buy a toy motorcycle and they haven't paid any licensing fees, this is what you get. Yeah, this is it. And by the way, there's an entire
Or is that like the brake? Is
there's
that
an
a
entire
brake
kitchen
bracket?
set
What in
on
the
top of the
shit?
gas tank. If you look on top of the gas tank, it's an entire Boy Scouts of America cooking set. There's at least 2 different types of frying pan up there. It's
And then it looks like there's like a stack of steel washers
just-
behind the foot. What
those
is
are
it?
springs.
It looks like a Cushman Eagle had
my
made sweet,
God.
sweet love to a
Yeah.
Honda Shadow.
Yeah, those are very much springs. And
They're springs.
right, and is this motorcycle air cooled?
And that's like
I don't know, but it has 9,000 fins.
And
Yeah.
that's like a Kuryakin
It's a collection of
hypercharger, but
fins.
reversed.
It's like somebody just said, "Okay, we're not even going to try to lie
Dan,
about
let's
it."
go back and wait. Did we hit the missed thing that Dan said he wanted one of
This
these?
is it. Yeah, he wanted
You
one of
were into
these.
this? Wow.
It's
He
like
wanted this.
No, I take it all back. It's
Back in
a
2000.
I take it all back,
Right.
and Greg's gonna get me with this. It's a Mustang pony.
It is a
It
Mustang.
is a Mustang pony. You're right. It's a Mustang pony for big kids.
Well, I was kind of in love with the idea that they were bringing Henderson back.
I get it. I totally
But
understand.
isn't the original Henderson X like a 4-cylinder inline?
That's what I was about to say. Couldn't they have gone to a Hyundai and just fucking been like, let me buy that fucking motor off you and shoved it in there or something?
But this is the same concept that one of the 17 owners of Indian,
right.
yeah.
right, was SN, like they were doing it that way.
Yeah,
and like
right,
I think they were Connecticut or whatever.
But yeah.
And they were building essentially the same thing because they were building an SNS Motors transportation system.
And then Polaris said, "Here's a blank check. Just write a number."
So that's a real bike.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a real motorcycle.
that wasn't AI.
That is not
You
from
know,
Toontown.
That is not a joke. No, I take it back. That is a joke, but it
Yeah.
is a real motorcycle as well.
It does look like It does look like some
It looks like
Pixar version
it
of
is a-
like in the
that-
Pixar TV show, the movie Cars.
Shriners are the only
This
people.
is the motorcycle.
Shriners are the only people that ever
Carper
rode that
says
bike.
fins for the downforce, bro.
Fins are for the downforce. Yeah, no shit. Yeah,
Well, there's plenty of downforce. That's
Yeah.
why they need that big front end.
What I love is that there's all this girth here, and then you get a 4-inch wide rear tire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right.
Right, because
That's
they wanted to
sexy.
keep it. Yeah,
I can't
that
get.
should be the sexy.
I can't get past the fact that it looks like it needs to be at a carnival.
Yeah,
it does. It needs to be on a little thing going around in circles.
You know how you can tell? You can tell that a board brought the brand back.
Yeah.
Because everything was, they didn't give a fuck. Like
that
there's
was-
a bunch of people saying stuff. So like, well, how much? How
Designed
much?
by
How
committee.
Much?
You
How
know-
much?
you
Yeah,
know,
great.
Well, because
The
it's an
one-
Excelsior Henderson, it has to have a Springer front end.
yeah.
The
And they
one-
said, let's put the springs on the outside.
Okay, let's do that.
The one thing Victory got right when they fucked it up in the first with a V92C was
Right.
they brought in the Ness family.
Yes, they
brought
did.
in Arlen Ness and
Yep.
the son, and they fixed everything. And then the Victories were an amazing looking bike after the fact
Well, that's
that
what
Ness
like,
got a hold
like
of
them
it.
or hate him, but a lot of the stuff that Roland Sands does at least looks halfway
Yeah.
decent when he does something with these
And
companies.
this strikes me as a V92C, which is they're unattractive.
Marshall
But they're not
Thompson, you
horrible.
did not derail us. We're still talking about, or back to talking about dead bikes.
Dead bikes.
We are still talking about dead bikes. This bike is very fucking much dead.
Oh, it's dead. And if it
But
wasn't
we
dead,
just accidentally stumbled across its gravestone while we were walking through
Oh,
looking
God.
at the
I
other
will tell
ones.
you. I will tell you. He's right. If you look at any Honda
on the
Shadow,
top.
that's the identical Honda Shadow seat.
It is. Yeah, it is.
That's
That
an-
is
that's a
absolutely
Honda
the
Shadow
Honda
seat.
Shadow
It's
I
seat.
think that's
comfortable
the
as
same
fuck.
seat that was on my Triumph America, too.
I think it was too. I think that came from houseofcruiserseats.com.
So Adam DeLellis says if Janice and an intruder had a love child,
Yes.
that would have been the result.
That is exactly what would happen if Janice and the intruder had a love child. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the bike that it was copied off of.
which is very attractive.
But you see the springs by the headlight?
Yep.
Let's not get too fucking carried away with that design, boys.
See the forks through the front fender.
Yep.
Yep. So
Yeah,
this is
but
what happens, man.
Look how
So-
sexy that fucking thing is
so-
compared to the jalop we saw before this.
I beg to differ.
Hang on. You
don't like that?
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
no, I think this bike's
I
a
need-
fucking bag of
or
smashed
I need
assholes.
to
I like
I
a
need-
4-cylinder Excelsior Henderson.
A lot in that. That's
Hey,
all right.
settle down. Settle down.
I don't mind it.
Chris Smith. What do you think of that bike?
Who cares?
That is exactly where Janus got their design. Well, it's not quite a flat tank, but this is very much Janus.
That's not a board race.
had-
Okay, then.
I'm trying to get you involved here, man.
I'm involved.
It's got, it's got
Okay.
similarities, but it's
Okay.
it's different. It's way different.
No, that abomination that y'all showed a minute ago looked like a Cushman Eagle was
I
not
like
anywhere
this,
near
dude.
this
I-
design.
But you're
This is a
absolutely right.
beautiful
So
motorcycle.
we're looking at this motorcycle,
It's
and yes,
okay.
the forks are springers.
Yeah.
The motor
Check.
looks way too small.
They are
Look at those jugs.
trailing link.
I will
It's a
give
mini
you
bike
that.
motor.
Right?
I will
or
give
leading
you that.
link. Sorry, that's leading. The link is in front of the fixed
because
part.
it goes forward.
Right. The
That's
link
leading.
the link is in front of the steering bit. Right? So yeah.
That's like a standard Springer then. That's like the Harley Springer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the forks do go through the fenders, which means you do have to remove the entire forkages to change the fender.
Nice.
I dropped something over
It does have springs below the headlight,
It's
which
not-
they really overcapitalized on.
Oh.
The rest of it, though, I mean, it's a V-twin, but the rest of it on this motorcycle is making the best at what you had in the time you had it.
That to me is a beautiful motorcycle.
The geometry's good. It's a rigid. Okay. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I
That's
like those handlebars.
Yep.
There's too much air over the back fender or too much air under the back fender. But because, with a rigid, you can have that fender right down on the shit if you want to. But the rest of it, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty rad. I mean, I'm okay with all that.
The cool thing is that bike and then the newer version probably put out the same exact horsepower.
Well, see,
Yeah.
if you're gonna design by committee, this is the bike you should have built. I mean, you could have done a water cooled version of this, and it would have cost you nothing.
Yeah, looking at these machines, I'm definitely saying that this is not the most attractive old motorcycle that I've ever seen. It's not a motorcycle that I've been like,
look up
that's just gorgeous.
Look up at like the Excelsior, the 4-cylinder.
That's what I'm about to
Excelsior.
do.
Well, yeah, but those.
That's
Can I
where
just
I'm
say
going
one
next.
thing? We need to bring back the rear wheel stands instead of center
absolutely.
stands.
Center stand on the back wheel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would make my
need to
life so
bring
much.
those back.
You know what else you need to bring back? The rear
back
fenders with the hinges.
Oh yeah,
Hinged
take a tire
rear
off in
fenders?
no time.
Oh God.
Yeah. Take a tire off a bike
God.
in no time. Flat.
I
Right.
hate fighting a rear fender for taking a tire off. See
That's a good looking
but
bike.
that's the exact same bike with the
it's
different
probably
with
the
the four-cylinder
same
motor.
similar frame.
Yeah,
The
It's
rear
very-
fender is
very
better.
similar design.
They nailed the fender on here is proper.
Oh yeah,
And there's even sexy.
and I'm
luggage
sure
rack.
somebody out there who's their thing is Excelsior or Henderson's are going to tell you, well, this model and this
The
model
Cleveland
and
Indian,
different.
I'm sorry, the Cleveland 4-cylinder is a beautiful motorcycle. There's plenty of beautiful motorcycles that exist in the world that are just fucking art, and they really are. This one,
Which means that every manufacturer out there right now needs to up their fucking game.
But think about this for a minute. At some point, because this had to happen, right?
Yeah.
At some point, this picture was on the wall.
Right.
And then they had the concept of what we saw from 2000 next to it. And somebody was like, yes.
You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Wait a minute. When you got the concept, right? When you got the concept in front of you, and then they go, well, it's going to cost X to build that.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we'll go a little cheaper route, but make it look kind of like this, you know?
right.
Wouldn't Del Bossa be sorry that the Victory Vision died?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Victory Vision was another one of those motorcycles that the first time I saw it, I went,
But all Victory really died, right?
step away.
All Victory died.
Back from the design table. Step back from the design table.
so Johnny
Just
Mac-
because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right.
Victory died so that Indian could live. And the question is, was it worth killing Victory so that Indian could survive?
We were there.
And that's
We
the
were at the
thing.
motorcycle
That is
show the year it
totally a thing.
happened. And when the year that
Because
happened.
they spent a lot of money making Victory work, and Victory was working.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody in the C-suite went, you know what? Let's buy Indian for a shit ton of money and make the Indian name something. Somebody had an agenda.
They made a pick. They made a choice. And
'Cause at
the
the
choice
time-
was they couldn't coexist.
Yeah.
Because they did, for several motorcycle shows that we did, there was the Victory booth and the Indian booth. And you're like, okay, I get it now. Those 4 Indians are those 4 Victories.
Are we talking dot, not
package.
feather, or what?
What's that?
Right.
Well, well, no, it actually is feather, not dot, because it's
Right,
the
right,
original
right, yeah,
Indian
right.
motorcycle.
Yeah, that's true.
And
It's
the reality
confusing.
is that, because at the time I was working a lot of Victories, and it hurt when Victory just went away because they made some great bikes.
Sure.
And then Victory, Indian showed up, and at the time, Indian had been an S&S build, standard OEM bullshit, nasty crap ass bike. And then they became this wonderful thing because they literally took all of Victory and went, we're just going to make it a little bit sexier. And the FT,
But that's also, you got to, it's a name recognition thing,
But nobody knew what Indian, nobody really knew what Indian was at the time because this was.
That looks fast standing still.
This is this particular motorcycle that I'm pulling up. The folks at home are going to see it in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds. This particular motorcycle is one of those motorcycles that every time I've ever looked at one, I've been just completely gobsmacked. I would stop in my fucking tracks and I would just look at this motorcycle because the fact that the last part of the frame for the rigid back end goes up at a 30-degree angle off a flat to put that wheel in exactly the perfect position where it needs to be is just beautiful. I love the inline 4-cylinder motor. I do. There's many things about this motorcycle that look right to me, including the very clean Springer front end that doesn't have springs. It has a dampener.
So I'm going to pose this.
Cool bike.
Imagine that exact frame,
Yeah.
that exact geometry, that exact bike. But in place of that 4-cylinder is the brick out of the Zero.
Right.
And a little tiny electric motor in the back, just like Zero, because they're only that freaking big.
You were at the, I'm going to get this right, the Fuel Cleveland show a couple of years ago where the guy shows up with
He had the 4.
Detroit electric.
I saw that.
And that's
1920 motorcycle. And it is one of the best double take, triple take foolers. You walk past that motorcycle 16 times swearing to God it's a 1921 or 1918 motorcycle.
And
Well, Jackie interviewed him. You could probably find
it's out there.
It's somewhere where he took was it an Indian? Was it an Excelsior?
Something, yeah.
But he
Inline
hollowed
four,
out the motor, right?
Yeah,
Like the battery.
hollowed out the motor, made it all electric, and it
that's-
looked like It looked like a stock bike, but it was electric.
Brilliant.
Yes.
But he got to enjoy it.
That is how, because you look at everything that comprises that bike. There's nothing on that you couldn't replicate these days on the cheap. Like, well, I say cheap, but inexpensively.
Well, not only that, but think about this: like electric. So if in one charge, right? Before he had to charge it, he probably got more mileage than the other version of it would ever get.
In its entire life.
And it was faster.
Right?
And it was faster.
But so a little thing, I don't know if you guys know this, but the particular motorcycle that we're looking at right now, this is a Tornado. So this is a Cleveland Tornado. And the magic about this motorcycle is you had a very small gas tank between your legs. And one side of the gas tank is for gasoline. The other side of the gas tank is for oil. And the oil does not go into the motor and come back into the oil tank. The oil goes 100%. Away forever.
Total loss.
So you can only ride this motorcycle until there's no more oil in the left tank.
That's genius.
It's genius.
Well, genius.
I like to believe, like, instead of recycling oil, we are just the end user, right? It's just gone.
It's perfect
gone.
for
You never have to change your oil.
Well,
that's what
it's an infinite number of strokes.
When we went and saw the Cannonball, when the Cannonball came to Toledo, Ohio, like they had this brand new parking lot at the Harley Davidson, and all these fucking like 1911 bikes are rolling in. They had little boys with like giant cardboard boxes. As the guys pulled in, they would
slide the cardboard right under there. Your bike's leaking oil. Presence of oil.
Because if I remember correctly, you would pull up to a gas station and you would have two pumps. One would be gas and one would be oil, and you poured them up.
This particular motorcycle, there's one thing this motorcycle doesn't have that my customers, current customers today, think is a damn good idea. It doesn't have a dipstick. Do you know why? Because there's no oil in the bottom of that goddamn motor.
That is not a sump.
The oil starts at the top. The oil starts at the top, and gravity takes it to the bottom, and game over, pal. Don't be behind this guy. And, the fun thing, we all enjoy motorcycles greatly. We think they're a super cool thing. But there's a hose on the bottom of this motorcycle where the oil leaves this motorcycle to give you a fighting chance that it won't be on your tire. Right?
And this is only just
the engineering of this thing for its day. Keep in mind that in 1921, there were Cadillac cars that did have, a lot of cars had big giant motors that had 9 quarts of oil in them, and that oil stayed in those cars. But when it came to motorcycles, fuck it, let it go on the road.
Well, this
keeps
is only
the dust down.
This is only just past having a bicycle pump where you would pump more oil on.
Well, this one does.
Bearings.
So this bike on the left-hand side has pump. This has a
so once the bearings
pump.
Start screaming, you pump more oil.
Pump more oil into it. Yep, exactly. When you hear the motor, when the motor becomes loud or violent, you just add more pressure to your oil tank. This is our ancestors living.
And now people complain because they might have 3,000 miles before their oil's changed.
Now people are upset that their back tire wears out before their first oil change.
I won't buy a bike without electronic speed control anymore.
Sleepy's all over launch. Sleepy wants launch control.
I'm not doing it any other way.
Traction control.
Andrew Taylor wants to know what kind of oil we like to use.
Fuck you, Andrew Taylor.
You know what? The answer is Rotella.
Rotella.
The new stuff.
You know the answer.
Rotella.
The answer is always Rotella. Go fuck your hat.
So, but just like you were saying, like if they came out with something like that retro now, that was electric powered, there'd be a line for them.
Well, you could.
That's the new Janus E.
Because being seriously, if you look at
Janus
builds their frames here. They build the entire frame on a buck here. You could do that frame easy. I mean, it's just. It's all just straight lines and fairly straightforward.
If somebody gave you that and put it in your driveway, just like it is, the way it is, original year of our Lord 1921 or what have you, if somebody did that, how many miles per year would you ride it?
It would go and bring a trailer the next 5 minutes later, and then I'd get like
I'd pay for my next vacation.
I'd get an Africa Twin.
But I guess the concept is if you had a motorcycle like that, you might only ride it 200-300 miles a year. Right? Because of the maintenance and upkeep and all things go along with it. But if somebody says, I'm going to give you the exact same motorcycle that you can ride as much as you like, no care, devil may care, with one of two solutions. It's a Briggs & Stratton 20 horsepower Vanguard, whatever motor in it, right? Or an electric thing, right? That gives you also 30 horsepower, right? You can ride either one.
Now are we talking like electric where you have to recharge it, or electric where you get the cells that it's dead, you change the cell?
Well, and I think if you're only riding it for a couple hundred miles a year, you don't need that daily driver.
I will tell you this: if you ever came to
flip it.
Portland, Indiana Scooter Show, you see a lot of guys that have Simplex,
Yeah.
Whizzers,
Yep. Yep.
Cushmans, Whizzers, pony cycles, Mustangs, all that stuff.
Electric.
And no, they have put the Vanguard, Briggs and Stratton motors in them. There's one guy that runs nitrous. He'll do
Queen of the Cushman Eagles, man.
He'll do 130 miles an hour on 8-inch wheels, which is very scary.
Yep.
But like, there's guys that are taking. I've seen Simplex bikes that look exactly like this, and they have brand new motors in them. Like a Briggs and Stratton or like a Predator or something like that.
Well, yeah,
Which
they make
it's not
the V twin, right? Like
Predator actually does make a V twin.
Oh, hell yeah, they do.
Like the Briggs and Stratton, and guys have actually put them in the Cushmans, and I've heard nothing but good things. Like, but you got to change the carb, you got to do a few little things.
You can get guys are modifying them now on Marketplace right now in Cleveland. There's a dude selling that motor for $3,500 with like modified rocker arms, making
really?
like 65 horsepower and shit like
Jesus
that.
Christmas.
Well, my Ridley, go back to the Ridley.
Yeah.
The Ridley Speedster was I want to say it was a Briggs and Stratton, or was it a Kohler?
That's
Because
Briggs.
it never, like, I looked all over that motor. I didn't see one stamp.
Because it literally is just a billet steel polished thing
It's
that's out of the back of a lawn tractor.
But what they did was, and this is only what I've heard, is that they've did pistons, cams, a bunch of stuff, head port, to the heads, did work to the Briggs and Stratton motors to make those things.
Oh yeah.
Sound like a Harley.
It's a Kohler.
real lumpy.
So it's a
and everything.
Kohler
It is the
Pro.
Kohler.
It's a
Yeah.
Kohler. It's a Kohler Pro Twin. Called the Command Pro Twin.
Yeah.
It was made specifically for Ridley's motorcycle, and it does crank out an astronomical 23 horsepower. So it's a 23 horsepower motor for that V twin entry level automatic transmission motorcycle. Yeah. So that's something. That's a agricultural motor, for lack of a better term.
So
yeah.
How about this for a dead bike?
Yeah.
A bike that a motorcycle company spent a ridiculous amount of money engineering, then sold it for under what they had into each one, and I still don't understand why they did it, the Honda Rune.
Oh, the Honda Rune.
Yeah. So remember, like they...
was it dead again?
No, it was only died once, thank God.
Okay.
Yeah.
It only had to die one time.
But if you look at the engineering and stuff behind it, the bike itself was, it was unbelievable. And guys that have ridden them and stuff say that it's like the pinnacle of motorcycles.
Not gonna lie, it was one of the more comfortable of the most obnoxious motorcycles I've ever ridden. It's crazy.
Well, it was the same as the Valkyrie motor, right?
It's everything Valkyrie, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing about it's Goldwing
Except for
Valkyrie.
the frame, the front forks.
And then the front forks.
But it's got the big rear wheel and like this big layout,
like an unridiculous,
I know.
unending checks to build that thing.
I know.
And then
it was very gorgeous.
I can take you and show you 200 of them next weekend if you'd like.
But what was the point
Because
of
Kurt Compton has about 200 of them.
Really?
Yeah, he bought them all.
So Dean used to work for a shop in Atlanta, Georgia. And I cannot remember the name of it right now. It just completely escapes me. But the owner was Russian. And he would buy every one of those he could lay his hands on. Every Honda Rune he could buy, and every Toyota or every Range Rover he could buy, and ship them back to Russia because they were worth fucking bank.
Oh, I believe it.
I think that Kurt Compton decided to.
Don't scare me like that again, okay?
I wanted to bring up.
Don't change the picture without warning me, okay? I looked over and I thought I saw a ghost.
Do you remember that conversation about the Moto Morini and the Ducati that were really ugly?
We had this conversation before about which was the ugliest goddamn motorcycle.
This is like the
dude, this is that Dollar Tree $1.99 motorcycle.
This is truly. You have one of these. There it is. We just figured it out. There it is. We figured it out.
Holy fuck!
It is
literally the
It's an Excelsior. It's an Excelsior Henderson Super X.
Jesus.
That looks like a cross between an Ironhead Sportster, a Virago. And
This is ridiculous.
No.
But the front end defies.
I can't tell if it's the Honda, if it's the V2.
Yeah, if we saw the other side and saw the
Hold
pipes.
on a minute.
it might be
That
exact-
is that bike.
It is.
Honestly,
Sleepy, turn it
that
around.
is that bike.
Sleepy, turn it around.
think-
It really is. Turn it the other way. Oh, yeah.
I honestly think that toy
Same
company, in a desire to avoid all conflict with any lawyers, did manage to pick the one motorcycle they could replicate.
If I hold it right
It is
here,
perfect.
it
really
is
is.
Including the tank logos and all that
and
garbage
the
too.
flare. Look at the flare.
Oh, the
on
flare. The world's
fender.
worst front fender.
Oh, my God.
The world's worst front fender. So we have found the origin of the toy that's been on the bar for years.
Yeah, so what they were thinking when they said, here's the bike we're going to build, and they already went to the dollar store.
They had already bought that.
They found the toy, and they go, this is what we're building.
This is what we're building. No, the engineer cashed the check.
Go for it. Yeah,
And went to the vacation in the Bahamas, and they were like, "Hey, it's been 6 months. Where's your design?"
Yeah.
And he handed him that toy.
Yeah.
And when I even 3D modeled it for you.
It cost me so much to do this.
I've investment casted this bitch.
Point of order. Point of order. This is a Magna. It's got 4 pipes.
Yeah, well.
No, it's not. It's a Yamaha. It's a Venture.
What is a Venture?
It's
No, it's an Excelsior.
It's a
They just changed
Here's
their
the pump,
pipes.
Tom.
That's not a Magna. That is a Yamaha Venture. I know, but the Royal Star 400, 1200 cc, 4 cylinders. Yeah.
It literally looks like.
I mean, I get you on the whole V4 business,
It's like a
but-
VT5.
Listen.
It looks like a VT500 Shadow.
Everybody's
so
sitting
bad.
here enjoying this awesome thing that just
Yeah.
happened, and Tom's like, "Well, I'm going to ruin it for everybody.
No,
it's not actually that bike."
Look, I see where he's going with the whole "it has 4 pipes" thing, but
It really is.
Nobody
that bike.
noticed that. We were
Great.
just having fun.
we're just having fun.
Fucking rolling
Tom's
along.
got a shit all over it.
Yeah.
So let's get off the Excelsior Henderson.
Please,
Please, yeah.
Dan
Just, I
Lance
can't, I'm about to
mentioned
throw
the
up.
Yamaha Vision, and I don't know what that looks like. I want to see one.
Now, Dan. The problem is which Vision.
He didn't say. Let me.
That's the question.
it's probably the 550, the XZ 550.
Because
And I actually,
It's a twin.
He says
Yeah.
it has space age styling.
Yeah. The late one, not
there's
the
nothing
the late
wrong
one, not
with
the
it.
early one.
It's nothing wrong with it. It's just of the period. That's all.
I mean, we might as well be talking about the CX650 Turbo.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like,
if we're gonna have an ugly
Incidentally,
bike,
Piper saw that bike at the Barber Museum and loved it.
Oh, the
Vision?
Turbo or the Vision.
CX650 Turbo.
CX650 turbo.
That's a badass
Yeah,
bike.
because it's got the fucking cool
it's a-
80s
yeah.
sort of digital font, right? Yeah, I get that. But
Battlestar.
Bring back the
Galactica.
CBX.
yeah, we can if we're gonna have the battle of ugly bikes, we can do better.
Oh, no.
than
The Radian was
than the
uglier
Vision.
than that.
The Radians
The
are
Radian.
also out there. Don't tell Kurt Edwards. He likes a nice Radian. Yeah, there's plenty.
Let's bring her back to at least the 2015.
The
and
thing
up.
with the thing with the Victory Vision is the Victory Vision did have challenging styling. It
Yes.
did. It was, the bestseller in 1982 at $28.49. Sure. But Vetter did make a fairing for it that I can only say is delightful and tied into the design of the bike perfectly. Danimal, our buddy Danimal, I will give you this. I'll give him this image because the folks at home need to see it. It's so good. The Vetter very rarely can nail and pick up the styling of a bike and just completely fucking crown it.
What did you do?
Here it is.
Amazing.
Vetter completely
Hey, that looks like the new
nailed-
BMW.
Yeah.
Oh my God. 1300 adventure
Like
bike.
I said, it's like an extended R65 LS headset. You know?
Vetter nailed this windshield so hard because they picked up, and very rarely does a bra rescue the look of a motorcycle. And in this case, the bra that's on the wrong part of the gas tank looks great.
yeah.
The bra that is completely not where it should be looks cool. But yeah, that's what a Victory Vision, or I'm sorry, that's what a Yamaha Vision is. But yeah, that's what they are. They're V-twin liquid cooled. Yeah, they're cool bikes.
I mean, you know
And
what?
Is that a
it
V4?
died a long
Yeah.
time ago, so we can talk about it.
Oh, it died a long time
Well, you know
ago.
what happened? The Coke wore off, and they were like, "Fuck."
Well, they ran out of radiators. That bike has got that's got more surface area than the front of a Mack truck.
True.
Right. Yeah,
It's
that is
almost the same as the
I think they had that same
CX500.
radiator on the Triumph Rocket.
Yes, they did.
The CX500 didn't have like a big like wing thing like
If you don't
radiator.
Yeah,
so if you
very
don't
much
get any
so.
of the inside jokes, feel free to drop a "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the pictures, man.
Oh no, I mean
throw
all the
pictures
other
up.
all the other outside jokes.
Right. That's fine. That's what they are. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Dios de los Muertos Motos. That's the idea, is motorcycles that just aren't with us anymore. Bikes that are gone. And I haven't cried a single tear for one of these, except for the Concourse. The
How about
Concourse
the
makes me sad.
Honda Easy Cub 90?
The Easy Cub. No,
yeah.
those will live on forever.
Yeah.
There will always be some guys with big
They
boats.
came back out with those though and made them like a street legal, a little bit more CC.
Well, okay. How about this? They've done we've done a Grom.
They've done them. Well,
We've
the
done the
Grom
monkey.
the Grom was its own thing,
Yeah.
but like they redid the monkey
Trail.
They did the Trail 125.
Dax.
The Cub. They're
Cub.
coming out with the Dax. Maybe the
Can an Easy Cub 90 be far
That'd
off?
be cool. And I'll tell you what.
Somebody commented the better clam jammer.
Listen, lots of guys got laid back in the
Better
90s,
clam
80s
jammers.
with that bike right there.
I'm going to tell you that right there is gratuitous and excessive means of hiding a square headlight. Because
true.
what you don't know is this motorcycle has a square headlight.
I guarantee you, if you
Yeah.
look deeply in like the 80s Mad Max movies, that bike was in there somewhere.
Red rubber grips.
yeah.
Red rubber grips too. Yeah, period correct red rubber grips and a no fear sticker, I'm sure somewhere.
That exact bike
mean-
was in Mad Max, yes.
I mean,
that's
if
what
we're
I'm saying.
lamenting bikes that look like this but are more modern, I'm gonna say, because I actually keep an eye out for one of these, the VFR 1200F V4,
Yeah.
about 2010ish.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, that bike, which was like a 1 or 2 year old.
Yeah, I sold mine very well.
Yeah.
I had one that had no miles on it.
Yeah.
And that thing, everyone was like, yeah, man, too bad nobody's going to buy that bike. You remember the Interceptor was in our shop for a while. And my point is very simple. You have to be willing to outlast the fuckers.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's yours. You own it.
Yep.
Don't be in any hurry to sell it. Hang in there.
Yep.
There is an ass for every seat.
Well, that's
That
what
basically had 0 miles.
It had 0 miles on it. It never had a battery put in it. It had never had a molecule of gas put in it. It was burgundy, of course.
Yep.
And it didn't have the automatic transmission.
Well, that's the big joke is I keep looking at bikes and I'm like, I really want one of these. And you're like, yeah, just here are the keys. Just bring it back with a full tank of gas.
Just yeah. You don't need to go out and buy one of those. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not going to take you long to scratch that itch that you need from a Honda Super Cub 125.
Exactly.
That itch is going to get scratched pretty quick. So here's the keys. Go ride it and come back and be like, okay, enough said. I don't need to own that.
I'm going to have to fix it or change the oil in it anyway.
Chris
so-
has got multiple monkeys, right? The correct number of monkeys is
All the
one
monkeys.
that you don't own but have access to at least twice a year.
Do you have a barrel that you keep them in?
That'd be fun.
That's the fucking greatest idea ever. You could collect the whole set
Barrel
and
of
just be a
monkeys.
barrel of monkeys.
Well, I know a guy that has the red, the yellow,
And the blue. Oh,
Yeah.
my God, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think one monkey that you don't own but you have access to is probably perfect.
I loved it. When I had mine,
Yeah,
loved it.
it's great. It's cool. How long did you keep that, Greg?
Probably a year.
There you go. Perfect. That is exactly it. That's how long it
Because
takes
the little
to
one
scratch
that
the
you
itch.
saw the other day will run circles around that.
I know.
And it
And
has 8-inch wheels
And it's
instead
more
of the
monkey.
12-inch. Yeah.
Right.
Mine's
It's more monkey. It's more authentically monkey.
Well, the tank that's on it is the HRC European. It's a real
real
Honda.
monkey
It's a real European tank.
That's
Yeah.
fucking cool. That is some pretty rad shit.
I found the Taiwanese company that sells the original monkey conversion to make it the Baja monkey.
Yeah.
Yes,
you
you
see
did.
that?
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
I
guys
found
doing
it.
that.
Yeah,
There's
there's
actually-
a whole group.
You could buy the Africa kit too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I saw
it.
the
Yeah.
Africa kit.
Which,
pretty rad.
trust me, you're not going to sit in that seat.
No,
because
that
the tank
seat
and the
is a
seat-
joke.
It's literally like you get
Yeah.
like an ass pad, like maybe 6-7 inches.
Really?
Yeah. Because there's a back piece that goes up. If you bring up
Yeah.
the picture, you'll see the tank. Like it's a big plastic thing that just fits over the top, and it's like this. There's a little spot for your seat, and then the plastic goes up and over in the back.
Yeah, it's like
The Honda
exactly.
Africa, the Z50 Africa.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Baja, they're actually reproducing all the stuff you can get. That my buddy, he's actually kind of building one. I was kind of going to build one too, because you can get the headlights, the round with the round ring. You can get the little engine guard, the frame guard in the front. You can get the luggage rack, all the plastics, all the decals. I
Yeah,
actually
it's like
have
the
a set of
Taiwanese
decals.
cats are figuring out that Americans like all this shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we can produce all that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why they made that kit for the
There it is.
Grom.
Yeah.
That.
Boom.
So look
That's-
at the tank.
That's a ruckus headlight.
It kind of is.
literally is a
kinda
ruckus headlight.
Yes. It's a little smaller though, because the ruckus is actually a tiny bit bigger. But if you look at that, it's a whole the tank
Everything.
around the sides, and
It's
then
like
that
a
little
Tracy
back thing
body
fits
kit.
over. Yeah, it's a whole body kit. And where your ass sits, trust me, you will not like that.
No, I don't think I would.
It's like the YSR 50.
You don't
a lot
need
of
to
guys
convince
took
me.
the little
And the other
crotch
thing too
pad
is
off.
we have to remind people that might be looking at this. This is not the Monkey 2022 125.
No.
Oh, this is
This
the
is a Z50
Z50
Monkey.
Yeah.
50cc.
Everything on this. This is pick it up. You could sneak this motorcycle into prison
In your anus.
in your prison wallet.
I think that was inferred.
Yeah.
Well, these,
Unless
You
you
just
have
gotta stick it
a,
way up your ass.
that those like over in Europe, we get the 50cc
Right.
Z50s. They're a 3-speed automatic. Over
Right.
there, they're 4-speed manual.
Right.
They ride those things on the street.
I think it's funny. This has fork protectors on it.
Yeah.
For forks that contain no oil.
No. There's no
So it's
oil in
protecting
those.
the oil
there's
seals.
springs. Yeah.
There's no oil to be found.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's pure.
It's got the rock guard on the bottom.
rock
Oh, it's
guard,
pure
yeah.
squirrel fuckery.
yeah.
Like this
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing is all about Africa. Why not?
It's
Yeah.
fucking brilliant.
It's the mini Africa twin.
is brilliant.
But it's
It
not
is.
a twin. Yeah.
It's
But everyone wants one just to say, I've got one of those. But the Baja, if you look
Yeah.
at the Baja, is more realistic.
Yeah.
You could take any kind of 90s Z50,
Right.
get the decals for it, and there's a couple companies you can look up.
I do like the
repop
name of this
parts
company.
and
It's called
everything.
Fang.
yeah.
That's fucking cool, man. That is legit. Yeah, when you call your company Fang, yeah, that's rad.
Just like there was a
that.
company that was actually making a kit for the Z50s
Mm-hmm.
like this, the smaller ones, 8-inch wheels, where you can make your bike look like a Harley bagger.
Yes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
ever see those?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw those, yeah.
That was a whole kit. Like you could buy, you get the front fairing, you get the back, the trunk, the saddlebags, and I think there was a tank thing that, but maybe not a tank, but like there was a whole kit you could buy, and
Yeah, it came
they're
with an
still out
ankle
there.
monitor, 2
There's-
divorces.
Right.
Awesome.
And a little bag, a little pouch that you could fill with oil that just open it up a little bit and it'll leave a trail behind you. Make it
Yeah, the
real.
buddy kit for the Honda Monkey. I'll pull a picture up, but there's a couple of different companies that do them, and there's so this one in particular is for the modern Monkey, and that's why I think that
the
actually
Z1000 one or no?
I'll pull it up for you guys. so
Oh
you can see
yeah,
it.
there's one that looks like the KZ1000 or something. It is so fucking cool. Oh, there's the bagger one too.
That's
yeah.
the bagger one, and you can do this
yeah.
to a modern Monkey. This is you don't
Yeah.
need a Z50 for this. You
Please
can
don't do that.
You can sacrifice. Please don't do that.
Dude, that's kind of cute, man.
I'd actually
the front fender's
I'd
fucked
actually
up,
consider
though.
that one.
The front fender has to be brought down. You cannot do that. That's a mounting error.
Right.
But again, you were talking earlier about like this needs to be at an amusement park doing nothing but right hand turns, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like.
Look up a KZ1000 monkey kit. What? They have like a fucking like a 1978 whatever
I'm glad people on
KZ1000
YouTube are
monkey
watching
kit.
this at home and trying to keep up with our fucking frantic YouTube searches.
Okay.
Our frantic, right?
Okay, we didn't need you to derail us,
Yeah.
Marshall Thompson.
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks,
derailed
yeah.
ourselves.
Thanks, Marshall Tom. Yeah. KZ1000 Monkey Kit. I have not achieved greatness on this yet.
It might have been on Wii Bike. You know how the Wii Bike
Yeah,
thing. But anyways, they're amazing. It's
right.
amazing.
My Google foo is weak on that one.
Well, that's all right.
I did not come up with a
The one that you posted
KZ1000.
pictures of, that the red with the yellow and then the blue seat.
Oh yeah.
I actually thought about doing that because I was looking at the red monkeys.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, man, it'd be easy to do, like just by yourself do that.
Yep.
Make a
That's,
whole retro kit with the gold wheels, the blue seat.
We're
Yellow.
4 for 4 in a podcast that talks like we have a vast array of motorcycle knowledge and experience in the whole deal. And we are 4 for 4 coming back to monkeys. We've come back to monkeys 4 podcasts for 4.
Well, wait a minute. This all brings up a whole thing
Yes.
that when did the monkeys come on the scene? When was the first monkey? Well, the Grom came out in what, 2013?
I guess, yeah.
2014.
Yeah. Right.
And the Grom was what? The first monkey that came out was 2019?
Yeah, probably. I had decided not to attribute any of my brain's RAM to that. Yeah,
I know, but this is all I think about. No, there's if you think about who's going to buy a black Street Glide,
right?
You know, there's a very narrow of like guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s that want a brother.
Right.
The monkey?
Yeah.
There's
it's
kids,
everybody.
There's kids.
No,
there's
Harley's-
grandfathers.
Harley
there's
wishes.
Wait a minute. From as when you're old enough to drive or ride to 100 years old, guys riding monkeys.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
your age gap.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone.
market.
Your target market
your
is
target market is gigantic.
everyone for monkeys.
I mean, dude, old men get together in groups and travel across the country.
I know, you know, and they are so crazy. These guys are the craziest guys. Oh, we got one right here. No, but what I'm
Who
saying
would
is,
even think of doing such a thing?
You made up a point about
Madness.
the 883
I
Sportster,
was
the
just going to say
1200
that's
Sportster
stupid,
gone.
but I don't.
That's dumb.
You made a point
Sean
about
O'Hara wants to know, why we talk about
Sean O'Hara.
we talk about Knight Rider and Airwolf, but why never Street Hawk?
Street Hawk was the best.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
I lived my whole life based on that show. Jesse Mock.
Oh, is that his name?
That was the guy's
handle?
name. Yeah. And actually, George Clooney was in one of the episodes.
Was
Very early.
he
Yeah,
really?
he was.
That's
Little fun
interesting.
fact.
So
Street Hawk
I'm going
was
to let the
awesome.
boys here in the shop see it first. We're going to take a look at this. And so if Honda was so successful bringing back their monkey, how come Harley Davidson, which also has a bit of a marketing department, didn't decide to bring back their small displacement 1973 everybody had one motorcycle, the Z90? How come Harley didn't print one of these out?
They had what was called the X90, which was smaller
Oh,
than
they
that.
had-
And then the Shortster.
The Shortster.
Yeah,
Was a little
Harley,
different.
Harley had a whole bunch of these.
Yep, they had a whole whack of Aramakis.
SS250
yeah.
and the 350
Yep.
and this and the X, and this goes back to a conversation Phil and I have had a lot. Is Harley had a lot of potential to be an all-encompassing brand because this was during AMF where they still had freaking golf carts.
Yeah.
And when they bought the factory back from AMF, it was this huge liberating moment of Harley becoming Harley again and the Evo and everything. And they dumped all of these little tiny things that could have made them an all-encompassing, well-rounded motorcycle company. Because a lot of these were all imported. These were Italian motorcycles.
Exactly.
And 20 years ago, Harley could have said, look, we want to be Honda. So in order to be Honda, we're going to have to build the Shortster and the X90 and dirt bikes and all this other stuff we're going to have to bring in. They could have bought KTM and brought it in under the umbrella and said, this is all Harley stuff now. We're going to be a great motorcycle company that can compete head to head with Honda. And some asshole on Wall Street went, fuck that. Let's just keep writing
But
bad
they
paper.
couldn't because that doesn't look like a Honda. A Honda was cool looking.
I will
that
say
looks like
this.
it's a fucking rough,
It doesn't
fucking
matter.
mini bike or
I
something.
will say this, though. If Harley
Don't you
Davidson
blaspheme in front of Rupp in front of Greg.
loves Rups.
No, I like
Mansfield,
Rupp.
Ohio, pride of Ohio.
Right, but
Yeah.
Rupp was a mini bike that was like the prince of mini bikes.
Absolutely.
This is supposed to be a motorcycle.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, this has all the turn signals.
my Rupp
right there.
Roadster, I got a 72.
Sean actually says that the first episode of Street Hawk had George Clooney in it.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Listen, I got a 72 Rupp Roadster too that is street legal, and I have the title and the historical plate. I'll ride that thing anywhere.
No, I'm saying.
But Rupp's
that's great.
gone and
That
Harley's
was
still
cool.
here.
That's true.
So where's
But
the Harley
What I will
Z90?
say is,
Yeah.
if
Right.
Harley ever decided
Right.
to compete with the Grom or the Monkey and came out with a small displacement, small bike that was street legal,
Yep.
Maybe 125 cc, maybe even 200 cc or less,
Right.
I guarantee they'd outsell Hondas like
You do.
4-1.
So that's the idea.
Because the guys
Right.
that
Pit bikes. I mean, they're pit bikes, and all these guys who are drag
Wait a
racers
minute.
and stuff, they'd rather have a Harley.
Wait a minute.
Of course they would,
I know
yeah.
a few guys that have big Harley, the deluxe, the gigantic, this model, and they also have a Sportster, and they ride the Sportster more because it's fun to just jump on the little bike and go. If They made a small bike like that. Harley did.
Yeah.
Right.
All the guys that have either a Road King or something like that, because I do know a guy, his name is Jim Byro. He lives up in Sandusky. He actually has a Road King and a little trailer, and he has a couple of these X90s that are restored mint.
Right.
And he puts one of those X90s on the trailer,
Right.
and will go down to Daytona Bike Week, and guys are like trying to throw cash
And
in
they
him left
already
and right.
own the
And he
intellectual
goes, "Nope,
property.
yeah, right.
They already own the intellectual property, calling it a shortster.
Yeah.
So you've got the term shortster. It's part of your company
got it.
heritage.
It's
You've
there.
got the history behind
that's
it.
good, man.
It's 1973 all over again.
I will say the Shortster though had a 65cc and the X90 had a 90cc.
Right.
And the Shortster,
My
which that
argument-
one is like not that great.
No, you call.
ahead.
Okay.
It's a name thing. But
Here's what I'll do. If anybody from Harley Davidson is listening at this point, I'm going to give you one for free from your Uncle
yeah,
Phil.
yeah,
Call QJ.
that's it.
Have him knock out a 125 motor for you.
Yep.
No problem. Fuel injected. Give it at least 5 speeds in the transmission. Right?
Awesome paint job.
A great historical paint job, probably with the Spectrum colors of Harley Davidson circa AMF.
Yep.
Right. Set that up. Run 12-inch wheels that you can get anywhere from anybody.
Yep.
Set that up. Call it the Shortster. It only comes as a 125.
That's it.
You'll be accused of ripping off Honda, but it's not the first time.
Yeah.
So Phil,
I think that's it.
They already have
Harley
it.
Davidson's, you're welcome.
they already have it. It's called the TNT 135.
No, because the TNT 135 doesn't harken back at all to Harley Davidson.
A little bit of
now
plastic,
you
you're
take the
good.
TNT 135 and you put it in that livery or the red, white, and blue livery.
Get a
of course.
bubble tank and a fucking loaf of bread
Oh, yeah.
for a seat.
Wait a
That's
minute.
it, man.
You saw the picture of the monkey that has the Harley kit on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a company making those
Our
kits.
chat,
Wait a
We
minute.
might have a problem with our feed.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Is it timed out? I don't know if we're still live.
No, I'm seeing me walking across getting rid of your cans. So
It just died.
no,
Okay.
I'm right here.
No, I'm still seeing it.
Okay.
I think it's just you, John.
2 hours and 12 minutes. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think we're running long.
But there's
yeah.
a company making
charge
those
us for that.
kits. There's a company making those kits for the monkey
Right.
for a reason.
Right.
Because guys
'Cause
want
guys
them.
want it. Yeah.
They will buy the monkey to
Right.
make it look like a Harley.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there was already a Harley in place that they could just go buy
Sure.
that looked either like that or they can make look
And
like
they
that.
have the relationship with the
that
Chinese
had
company
a
already.
Shortster name on it, a Harley
Right.
name on it. They could
And they
ask
have
whatever they want.
And they,
Ask-
as Tom said, they have a Benelli TNT 135 motor
Right.
that already exists that is
Right.
in the QJ family.
Right.
So all you got to do now is body work.
Sure. And
So
that's-
you make a
that's nothing.
bagger
Yeah,
version,
right.
you make a Shortster
Yeah.
version, you make an S90, X90 version.
What about
Right.
a dual headlight?
Oh, yeah,
Bob,
you're right.
or,
Those dudes would lose their fucking.
They would lose their damn
minds.
minds. Right.
And then
it
wait a
will
minute.
cost-
What would happen would be
Right.
all the little bikes suddenly would be the cool thing.
They'd be the coolest thing
They'd
ever.
be the
Dude,
cool.
right.
Hey man, look what I got. Yeah.
Dude,
Right.
for my living, I go to these fucking car shows for
Yep.
work, like the big ones, like Reno and shit like that.
Yeah.
Every dick with a $200,000 fucking bright orange fucking 34 Chevy pickup truck would have a fucking mini heart
Of
Harley
course.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
back
You
of that
would.
fucking thing.
And you'd have
Custom
a
painted with fucking
Shortster, or you'd have a Street Glide, or you'd have a bagger that was a replica of the one you had at home.
And all these fucking custom shops
Yeah.
still all have airbags on those fuckers in like
The
4 minutes, dude. It'd be
the
all-
aftermarket,
oh, dude.
market would be crazy.
Insane.
The T-shirt sales would be through the roof.
What does a monkey go for today? I walk into the dealership. I buy a monkey.
4,200.
4,200.
Yeah.
Harley can get away with a solid $59.99.
Absolutely.
With
So Harley can
72
run
month
$59.99.
financing and
What's that?
72 month financing at 14.99%.
No, you got to be a member of Hog.
And
Harley
right,
Owners
right.
Group.
And all the Eagles you can put on it.
All the Eagles. Absolutely all the Eagles.
Trust me,
I love it.
that
It's
would
good
be a
business
thing.
model.
No,
That
no,
would be-
it
that would
comes
be
at
a totally-
135 cc's, but I can't let you leave without letting you know about our 155 Screaming Eagle kit.
Our Screaming
the
Eagle
Screaming
kit.
Eagle kit.
I
Yeah.
strongly recommend the
Yes.
Screaming Eagle kit.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way it is right now, it's EPA legal.
Right.
Let's come over here and talk about our accessories department.
Have you
Now, any conversation,
We can talk, yeah.
have you
any
been,
conversation that happens after this point is not. This didn't happen.
have
Can
you
I
been
check
to
you
our
for a
t-shirt
microphone?
department yet?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I love this idea.
Our DOT shirt, our DOT
Our
t-shirts.
DOT shirt department.
Like I said, there's already a company making body kits.
I'm shocked
for the
Janice
monkey.
didn't do a V twin and just go straight after
Why
a
don't we
Harley J
just bring
model.
out Darley Havison and just do this?
No, because the first time I saw Janice's
That's it.
chassis,
That's it. I'm contacting Lynn High right now.
You're gonna have Tom's Darley Havison.
Just go straight to QJ.
Yeah.
They already have a partnership.
It's true.
The contracts are already signed. The first time I saw Janus, and I was like, wow, of all the different things you could put in there, I'm sure somebody has an air-cooled V-twin that's small, like 250, 300 cc's.
I would make a V-twin just like the one I saw at Barber, the S100 made by...
Oh, yeah. Milliard. Right, Milliard, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a 100 cc V-twin or a 200 twin.
Right.
Well, I mean, the Kimco Vinox motor was a freaking work of art.
I love it, and I love everything about it, except for the fact that if you stuck it into a Janus, you would have to have liquid cooling.
yeah.
And I don't think with Janus you want to be hiding radiators anymore.
Right.
You might get away with oil cooling.
Well, not with that particular motor.
No. That motor,
So with that
motor was a
particular motor,
high-strung-
it was a thirsty water-cooled motor because it was a 10,000 RPM motor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for a Janus, it just needs to be a long stroke V-twin.
It just needs to be a Vanguard.
No,
Or Kohler.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're real chunky though. Yeah, they're real wide, those motors.
I think
But anyway,
the smallest Vanguard they make is I think a 16 horse,
about that. Yeah, about that.
and it probably would fit in a Janus.
Yeah.
because once you take all the shrouds off and everything, all the
just
bull
get
crap,
all the
take it
quieting and deadening and air,
take all that stuff
air
off,
management
down to
stuff off
the
of
bones that you need. Yeah,
just get it down to the
Probably could work
jugs.
it,
Yeah, that may be the
Because we all like jugs.
Jugs.
that's what they're called.
We're here for the jokes, man.
I think that Janus, when Janus brought out their 450, and everybody went, "Oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
right? That's neat." A gentleman was in my shop the other day, and he's like, "Hey, man, so can you get me a Janus 450?" And I was like, "I will make the phone call. It'll be delivered here. You'll get a Janus 450."
Sure.
Right? I'm certain we can do that for you, my friend. The deposit window is open. Right? And he was
for
like,
you.
"Well, I saw one that's for sale in San Clemente, California that only has 231 miles on it
fly out
for
there and get it.
$9,300. And I went, "That's a sore dick deal. That's $4,000 off MSRP. It's got 231 miles. Who cares? You just saved $4,000. Make a phone call, have a lonely truck driver, bring that fucking thing out to you. I'll give you Denver James's number.
Sure.
Get Denver James on the case. He'll haul that fucker out here for you. It'll be cheap and cheerful, and you'll meet a great human being."
Sure.
So do that. Make that happen. And you'll be laughing about the $4,000 you saved. And he goes, "Yeah, but then I'm still spending $9,000 for a 450. And I was like, "Dude, then you were never a Janus customer.
Yeah.
You failed the
He already
first
talked
test.
himself out of it.
You failed the first test of being a Janus operator.
yeah.
One, don't ever talk about what it costs.
Dude, do you know how many times I've
Ride
gone
it,
like,
look cool, get hand jobs from old men, and move along.
Right.
Dude, how
That's
many
the
times-
only reason to spend $9,000.
dude, but how many times like I've talked
Have
myself
you seen the
into-
Parkinson's in these
Smile
guys?
when you say that.
I've talked myself into a bike like, oh man, I can't afford thirsty.
Right.
What, $8,500?
Right.
I'm buying that now. You know what I mean? Like that
If
happens.
you think you're a Janus person, right, then you're getting the 450 at 250 pricing, essentially.
Right.
Who cares? It's not the color that you custom ordered or whatever. If you told me that
the second owner doesn't get to pick.
Right.
no, but the second owner gets to party with the extra $4,000.
Exactly.
So I just looked at him and I was
cocaine.
like, dude, I love that you he was at the shop that time when the sidecar rig was there.
Yeah.
And so he was like, Janus. And he's got disposable income. That's great. But he just didn't want to spend, anything over 10K on a 450. And I was like, dude, you're not really a Janus guy. Because that's the one thing I know about you're all guys is that you're all guys are BMW guys with no money.
Yeah.
What did he want you to say? Like, I'll get you a dealer or here, get this other bike. Like he pretty much already talked himself out of it. We're like, I don't know if I want to. Yes. Okay. Stop.
BMW
Stop right
guys
there.
used to disappointment.
If I was 63% Janus guy, I would have bought the one in California for $9,000, had a Janus 450, and I'd plot it around the neighborhood, and I would just Janus the shit out of that thing. I would just, I'd get a leather motorcycle hat, a leather motorcycle beanie, helmet, whatever you want to
Codpiece.
call that.
What's the difference between Jam and a Janus?
I can't Janus my dick in your butt. I had to work hard for that one, but I did eventually get there. Anybody else got anything else? It's been a hell of a podcast.
no.
Yeah.
I have to.
Oh, Smith.
Oh, do you have a
So,
good? Do you have a good joke?
So 3 nuns are dying in an auto accident. And so they go to heaven And they're in front of St. Peter. And he says, well, everybody's got to answer a question. So says the first one, who's the first woman? She says, oh, it was Eve. He says, yep, you're right. You're in. Says the second one, where did Eve live? She says, Garden of Eden. Yep, you're right. You're in. Third one was the Mother Superior. He says, well, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. What were the first words that Eve said to Adam? He says, ooh, that's a hard one. He says, yep, you're in.
I love it.
That's a quickie.
Okay, that's it, my friends. And
It's
on that,
called-
we're going to say,
it's called
ride
quiche.
fast and take chances. Play us out of here, John.
Bum 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 bum.
Out of here, Sleepy.